Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. What's up today, ladies and gentlemen? How are we doing? I see one celebrity in the chat already. What is up to the Glarer? How you doing, man? Good to see you. You never write. Or what is up with this microphone? Turn your robot penis the right way. Hey guys, hi. I don't know what's going on with my shirt today. Look at the collar on this thing. Holy shit. Like how, I don't know when this thing was made, like 1971. But I like it. I like it. If I popped the collar, I think I would look like one of those fucking dogs with the, the cone on so I don't like lick myself too much. Which is a problem. This is a problem that I've had lately. So, you know, that I can understand if I should do that. We'll decide later. What's up to locals and Rumble? Hey, guys. Based from Mars has made a triumphant return to locals, which is just heartwarming, really. Based is awesome. And I'm really glad to have her back over there. So if you're on locals, by the way, you should pop into that chat and light it up. Speaking of locals, one of the cool things about locals has always been the ability to chat using images. You know, you can add images, you can they can be pretty ridiculous, and you can use animated GIFs and stuff like that, which is great. I'm proud to announce we now have the ability to super tip images. So if you go to supertip.gg/RL, which I'm about to put in the chat, if you do that, you can actually send in images. I don't know how much trouble you can get in with it, but I assume plenty. And of course, that's fully encouraged, is to you know, to send in stuff that will embarrass my parents. That's the goal. That's what we're trying to do here. It's been the goal the whole time. I shouldn't tell them that. That was a trade secret. That was a trade secret. But yeah, so if you want to check out Supertip, if you've never done it, like, look, just give it a try. You know, the first time, just a little bit, give it a shot. See how you like it. It's a fun way to interact with the show. Of course, interaction with the show is not required. Your presence is your present, or whatever that saying is. I think whoever said that was lying, if I just had to guess, because I don't trust people like that. Okay, I'm just setting up my chat windows here. So hey, I had some time in the middle of the day, finally, for the first time in a while. Well, that's not entirely true. It's a couple things. A couple things have to happen to make the magic. One is I have to have time in the middle of the day. Two, I have to, like, you know, kind of like feel like doing a show. And when those two things meet up, here we are. I've missed you guys. Last week was kind of a disaster show wise. I just didn't do very many. I haven't felt great, but I think I'm getting better. So that's important. Let's see. What are we going to do today? I'm going to let people filter in for a minute, and then we're just going to do, you know, some midday legal talk, political talk, whatever talk you guys want, of course, is always welcome. But if you let me direct it, it's going to be law and politics. We're going to talk about what's going on at the Supreme Court lately. We're going to talk about ICE. We're going to talk about fat people falling downstairs. Probably not on that one, although we might. We can watch some videos. We can, you know, we can do whatever. Oh, I have this one video of a corrections officer getting into the uh, let's see. iVinegar for sale. It says, I can't get Bronca to say my name. Any advice? No, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't seem to have any trouble with the pronunciation. It seemed pretty straightforward to me. So, thank you for chatting, with that. I don't have any personal advice on that one. Anytime you want to sell vinegar here, it's perfectly fine. What is this? Eric or Exile the Knights of Malta Now says we're going to talk about space and nuclear and depopulation. Okay. We can do that too. We can talk about whatever. What's with the shades? It gives you Gunt vibes. I like them. I like wearing sunglasses these days. Part of it is because I'm sitting here staring at like 8,000 nits of, and I don't know, nits is it's a measurement of brightness. But I'm staring at a lot of brightness from monitors, and then I also have a couple studio lights, which you can see. There's one, there's another. See them? Boom, boom. Which, it gets kind of eye straining if you're just sitting here staring at it for hours and hours and hours. So I kind of like to wear shades when I do streams these days. That was not always the case. But yeah, I had some time during the day. I felt good. I felt like streaming. So here we are. It's not, oh, scheiße. Did I do it? Did I screw this up? No, I didn't screw it up. That's good. I always, YouTube has dual streaming where it'll stream vertical and landscape. It'll stream vertical and landscape. Nomini et Petri et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. It'll do that, and it doesn't default to being on, which I think it should. And so I've always paranoid that I don't do it. But it brings in a significant amount more people. So I definitely want to do that, right? But I'm always paranoid that I don't, that I've forgotten. Oh my God, this banner is way wrong. Way wrong. Very incorrect. I'm sorry. Mspire with a 2-month member chat says, what time do you call this? I'm going to bed. What time do I call this? This is 10:38 a.m. Very, very specific and professional time to choose to start streaming, of course. Although, you know what? We started streaming 8 minutes ago, which was 10:30. Well, it's 10:39 now, but it was like right at 10:30. That was an accident. I wasn't even paying attention to what time it actually was. So I'm very proud of myself for stumbling into that. That's good of me to do that. And I'll make sure to congratulate me and give myself a good performance review later on. Oh my God. It just got classy in here. Hello to Will Heron. What's up, man? How are you doing? Nice to have you here in the chat, I guess. Thanks. Or whatever for being here. Don't you have to work? Isn't it the middle of the day? What are you even doing? Let's see. Vincent Tuff says, hey, Sir Nick, have you ever shown your studio setup and equipment? I have. I need to clean up my desk, and I could do it again, but I'm not going to do that on this show. I'll clean it up and post it to locals or something. But I have definitely done that before. I can describe it very quickly. Right here, my main screen is a 43-inch Aorus, which is who's the Aorus brand? Who makes the Aorus? It's a Gigabyte. I think it's Gigabyte. I don't know. It's a 43-inch 4K monitor. It's really nice. Over here, I have a 27-inch monitor that's vertical for news stories and stuff like that. And then right in front of me, I have a 24-inch 4K Wacom pen display that I use to draw uncouth images that'll probably get me beheaded one day, like this one, for example, which I don't, like here. Allahu Akbar. So, yeah, I've used it for that and for jokes. It's also just a really, really nice 4K display with good color. Is it Asus that does Aorus? Okay. Well, that one then. That one. Aorus. Yeah. It's like a Greek god, but from the short bus. It's not as cool as Aeolus or whatever. But yeah, so that's my basic setup, and then I just have a shitty mechanical keyboard and I have a nice Logitech mouse. It's like a super good gaming mouse, I guess. But that's it. Oh my God. Here we go. So here's the first one. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of pressure. This is the first image super tip that we've received on this channel. Let's see if it's any good. You guys get to rate this. And if the person who sent it, who's Rook3H, if they sent in something terrible, you should tell them. If it's good, you should be like, no, that's a good picture, buddy. Like, that's awesome. But if it's bad, you should shame them. So here we go. How does this? Oh my God. It says self-explanatory. So we have a minor issue here in that this image is too big for my window there. So I'm gonna we'll have to play with that a little bit. I think I can fix that. But yeah, there you go. So we have these images. Hold on. I'm gonna go right now. I'm gonna make the image. I think I can make them just a little bit smaller size for now until I fix the overlay. So we'll do that for present. But hey, thank you, Rook3H, for that the first image ever. The inaugural image-based super tip has now occurred. I think it was a mid-effort, which is perfect for the stream. That's just great. So if you guys want to send in a picture, and now it's got like AI filtering and stuff, so it's not going to allow you to send in like vaginal shots or anything. So please don't try, because I might not see it, and I don't want to accidentally display something like that. But it does have moderation in that respect. I don't know how it works, but you should be able to upload pretty much whatever you want. But we still have these guys too.
I'm so out of the loop on things. You can call me Evil Knievel. I feel like 5 years passed in 6 months over here. I hope you're all doing well.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I know that feeling. I also feel like last year. No, I think it was 2024. Man, it felt like. Wait, he said 5 years and 6 months, or whatever. It felt the opposite. It felt. No, I don't know how to say this. Time was going by so slowly. What is this? Oh my God. Travis Rice, did someone say vaginal shot? See? Now this is what I'm talking about. That was slightly above average. That was good. The average was just set by the one picture. So being slightly better than it is, that's how you get, this is how we do this. This is how it works. And here, I expect you guys to not abuse that at all, and certainly to keep everything couth.
나는 내 좋은 친구 제프야. 나와 브래드는 천국에서 너를 위해 건배하고 있어. 라켓츠.
I agree with Jeff on that. I don't know what it was, but that's true. It's definitely what he said. Definitely what happened. Oh my God. Oh no, we've got one of these guys. Here we go. You might have blown with the courts, but that footage will be ours. Hey, buddies, speaking collectively is weird. It's very strange. You guys are all individuals. Try and remember that when you're spinning your beanies or whatever, and fingering yourselves. You can think it's going to be yours all day. I'm sorry Josh Moon lied to you, but Josh knew he was going to lose. His lawyers did too. They just didn't tell you that. I'm sorry that they did that. I really am. It's really shitty when someone does something like that, where they like try and, they take your money by saying something that they know isn't true. But hey, them's the ropes, or whatever. Shady Conservative says, finally catching you live. Purple Heart. That's an injury for those in the military. So happy to have you back, Rackets. Hope Lady and Mini Raggets are doing well. They are. They are. Thank you for your concern and your care and support. It's really appreciated. Grifty says, other people get suspicious because of your late night streaming habit. I get suspicious when you stream with the sun up. Better not be effing up. No. My sleep schedule's just been completely backwards lately. I did a couple too many all-nighters, and then now it's messed up. I'm trying to reset it a little bit. It's making it hard to get to streaming at night. Although that wasn't my issue last night. Last night was just kind of personal. Grifty says, take my member daytime peeps. That's very disgusting. I love it. And he gifted 5 memberships to the chat. Grifty coming in, starting it off with very inappropriate behavior, just wantonly throwing his member around, which is disgusting and appreciated very, very much. Thank you for that, Grifty. And on that note, guys, we do have a member show to do very soon. Maybe even tonight. I'm not 100% sure how it's going to work out just yet, but we do have a membership show to do. I did not get to it this weekend, which is becoming a bad habit, but we're going to rectify it. I apologize. We have a song to write for Kurt called Hey Maya. That's a big focus of what we're going to be doing on the next member stream. We also are going to be, exploring more of the unbreaded tapes, which are magnificent, wonderful, wonderful things that need more attention than the world has given them. Rook 3H side profile. You can see where his face splits. Well, it is amazing. Again, it's a physiognomy, whatever it is. It's a thing that I can't pronounce. That is shocking to me. I have not quite figured it out. But I think it's where he stores all of his autism. It's all stuck up in there. But thank you for that beautiful image. You guys are really doing well so far on the images. I'm rating you mid to slightly better.
Nick, you look great.
Hey, thanks.
That suit looks like you will be starting some Havoc with it. Have to take a work-related test and break in the new bike today. Have fun.
I will. Do you mean bicycle? Do they still do those? Are those still allowed and legal and stuff? No, man. Thanks for the compliment. This is one of the jackets I just got. It was a company that makes a lot of shirts that I like. It's a Turkish company. It's Turkish. They make good stuff, good suits. They had end of the year clearance on jackets. So I was able to get 5 jackets. They were $40 each. They run around $300, $350. And so they were $40 a piece. So I picked them, all the ones that they had that fit. This is one of them. I did get one that's not as great. I put it on today and I was like, I need to go take this to the tailor and get it taken in. Cause I kind of like, I look too much like like a professor, but one who like gives the hot girls better grades. I looked a little too much like that. I didn't like that so much. So I'm an even grader. I just want you guys to know, I did my share of teaching and my grading is very even across the board. So no matter what I'm teaching, I don't show favoritism towards attractiveness. Although I believe in that as a system. I do believe that attractive people should be treated better than everybody else because I think it's funnier that way. I also think it's the natural inclination of people. And so, I don't like to go against nature. Speaking of attractive people, look at this. Who's handsome? has joined up on the membership side. Welcome at the lawyer level. Very, very big. That's a lot of commitment, and I'm happy to have you here. I hope to let you down, but not for a while. I hope you don't realize it for a little bit, so to speak. Chuck Morris is off the rack. He's a criminal lawyer. Suit coats tend to fit me. Well, clothes in general tend to fit me off the rack. I have that kind of build, like just kind of normal, mildly triangular, not overly so, and not super fat. So like things just kind of fit typically, straight out the gate, and which is nice. It makes shopping much simpler, really. Makes shopping with other people annoying because they get frustrated by it. It's like, it's not my fault. I'm not even trying here. Like, what are you doing wrong? Gen X Medic says, Nick, I just bought a new Harley Davidson. Ooh, was able to get my dream motorcycle. Now getting through the break-in period, not a damn bicycle. That's nice. I'm glad to hear that you'll be dead in like 7 months. So it's been nice having you around the channel. Keep your membership active when you pass, please. Don't have your family fix that. Your state will be fine. It'll pay for it. It'll be good. Just kidding. Play it safe, brother, but have fun. I know from your profession, the risks of motorcycle ownership. So enjoy the fuck out of it. Ride it hard and fast. This is lightning, baby. Get on it and bolt. Jenny LJ, speaking of, gifting 10 memberships to the chat. Oh my God, Jenny, they do not deserve, don't tell them. They don't deserve this from you. They do not deserve your generosity. Same with Heather Whitaker, 5 members. They're flowing. Good Lord. It's like a nightclub at 1:30 in the morning right now with all the members just flopping out there. Make sure if you get a gifted membership, guys, that you do drop a little thank you to the people who gave it to you. So that puts us, holy crap, does that put us at 21 memberships, I think, so far? We haven't even really started yet. This is amazing. This is amazing. Yeah, it's 21 memberships on the show. Let's get this. We, of course, are sponsored today, as always, by Kurt's Dating Advice and Chicken Shop. We do track memberships, micropeens, Locals members, and that is sponsored and brought to you with full endorsement by Kurt's Dating Advice and Chicken Shop, your one-stop shop for both dating advice and poultry-related products. It may say chicken, but actually that's just marketing, baby, because it's the most popular. But all poultry products are available at Kurt's Dating Advice and Chicken Shop with the new product of pounded chickens. Pound your chicks and get pounded chickens. Kurt's Dating Advice and Chicken Shop. Thank you for sponsoring. They do endorse and specifically love and respect and and cuddle every single statement made on this show, and even the non-offensive ones. Speaking of non-offensive, Fletcher Boy gifting 5 memberships as well. That puts us at 26 YouTube members so far today. Hoo-wee, that's amazing. That is wonderful. I love you guys so much. And thank you for helping other people participate in the show. Really cool. Heather Whitaker says, any more thoughts of streaming the Corey Rikens trial? Starts the 23rd of February. The grief author who killed her husband by Moscow Mule. And they do say that women are the queens of poisoning murders. I don't know why, like mixologists, I guess. My thoughts on it are, sounds fun. Probably not the longest trial, which is nice. Or maybe it will be. I don't know. Do we have any idea how long it's anticipated to be? I know sometimes those estimates are overstated. But, I don't know. I have to talk to Lady Rackets and, if I'm going to cover a trial, which I am wont to do, happy to do so. But I have to make sure that she's available for all of the driving and kid running that gets done during that time. She has to take over all of it rather than having my help. So it's kind of it's a burden on her. I just need to make sure that she's good with it and available. Denise Ellis says, did you bid on the tie of Jeremy's whatnot? No, I did not. I was not available at the time that the auction was happening. unfortunately. What is this? What is it? Oh, no.
Ride? Don't Harley owners take their bikes to meetups on a trailer? That thing is an investment vehicle and a sound system, not something you ride cross country.
There you go. We already have Andrew Branca coming in criticizing Harley Davidson, notorious BMW bike fan. And now I think the fight can begin with whomever. If you like Harley Davidsons, you can say your piece. If you're Andrew Branca, you already have.
It's more convenient for me that more attractive people get treated better, so I can be judged on my massive penis.
See? It's a better system. It's a better system. It's a better system of government. It's a better system of, hiring. It's a better system of dating, for sure. That's the one that seems the most obvious to me. Like, I can't imagine there's people out there who don't treat better looking people better when they're dating. That's weird to me, but it does happen from time to time. Yes, I did hear that the tie will be auctioned again. See, this is a frustrating thing about that, though. People know I want the tie. So now, like, if I'm there and like I go to buy it, people are gonna be like, "Oh, that's Ricada. I'm gonna ruin his day, and I'll drive up the price." And it's like, well, I should undercut the market. I should use Google AI to locate the tie online and buy it from a different source. Be like, "Ha ha! Take that." I know it wouldn't be the same though. Grifty says image tips aren't working on mobile. Beat Moody. Maybe you're not working on mobile. Have you thought about that? Have you thought about it being a you problem? Should we start covering some news stories? It's been 30 minutes of me just talking. I missed you guys though. So like I'm liking this whole talking thing. It makes me feel good to sit and chat with you. I don't want to, I don't want to undersell or underplay that. Like I like coming in here and talking to the chat, and I'm happy to do so. I did say this is going to be a mid-law review. We're not going to be doing good stuff here. Animal Heroes says, thanks for a wild month. The number of times I have heard that is really amazing. It's usually when I'm starting a 30-minute lecture. But yes, thank you, Animal Heroes. Member for 1 month. Thanks for being here. Really proud of you and your life choices. Shador says, curious your take on the Chicago apartment building ICE raid. They went into apartments of American citizens too. Operation Midway Blitz, which is like isn't that an AC/DC song? I'm just kidding. It was Ballroom Blitz. Who did that? Or was that? Who sang Ballroom Blitz? Was it Van Halen or AC/DC? I don't remember. My 80s hair music knowledge is not good today. This is good. Some dude says, I just happened to be online, so your grace with my presence. Consider yourself lucky. Lucky? You think I'm not watching you? You think I'm not watching you? You think I don't have cameras in your bathroom, in your bedroom, in your closet? You need to come out. You need to come out. Neither one. The Sweet. Ballroom Blitz was The Sweet. Okay, I didn't even know that was a band. I didn't know. I haven't looked into the Chicago ICE raid. Maybe we should do that. Should we start off with that? It's only a $1 Rumble rant. I don't know if it should control the stream, but what you think I have show prepped anything else? Chicago apartment ICE raid. Here we go. This is days and days ago. The real story behind the midnight immigration raid on a Chicago apartment building from ProPublica. So that'll definitely be pro-Republican because it sounds the same. Aaron C. has gifted a membership. Thank you, Aaron C. Really appreciate you being here and sharing your member with the chat. That's very nice and it's very disgusting, but it is, it's also very cool. So, which is how most things should be done and handled. And Debbie Baker coming in Heavy 5 Ricada memberships as well. Debbie, always appreciated. Thank you so much. That brings us to 32 members so far for the stream. You guys are putting a lot of trust in me. We haven't even started covering any stories yet. Just do all these, we'll do all these super chats and memberships and be like, bye. That was cool. Thanks, guys. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that to you. Do I look like Melton or whatever? I'm just kidding. He wouldn't do that either. Heather, that'd be funny. Oh. What's up, Patrick? Did you just get dissed on my show? You did. You did. Starting a war with you. Starting a war. Heather Whitaker says, I think 4 weeks. Her lawyer is also representing Tyler Robinson, Charlie Kirk's assassin. Wasn't Tyler Robinson originally Alan Jackson? Was not the singer, but the lawyer Alan Jackson was like the original Tyler Robinson lawyer, but then he quit, right? And I think he's got does he have a public defender? Am I thinking of someone else? Alan Jackson was somebody's lawyer recently. Oh, that was Rob Reiner's son. Yeah. Okay. That was that one. Let's see.
My friend, not only do my bikes get ridden, not only do I get to ride my bike, I would also get to ride BMW riders' girlfriends. But let's face it, their tastes tend to run toward other men.
Whoa. Oh, my God. Hey, guys. So I need your opinion on this. I already know the answer because I'm prescient. But I received a proposal. I don't know how this. I shouldn't talk about this. I don't know exactly how this would work, but Mr. Andrew Branca reached out and asked if I would like to do a more regular show with him, like regularly scheduled programming that people would be able to reliably tune into and find Branca and I discussing, whatever matters we decide to discuss, along the line of like a Viva and Barnes type show, but a Branca and Ricada type show. So I of course think, yes, we should definitely do that. I don't know the details yet. I don't know, how frequent and, like how long and how deep or anything. But I know that anytime I talk to Branca, my life is better. And so I think we should definitely do that. And speaking of better life, Debbie Baker making 5 people's lives better. 5 gifted memberships from Debbie, bringing us to 37 gift memberships for the show. Not all gifted, but 37 memberships for the show. Thank you for bringing more people into the fold here at Ricada Law. We do appreciate and love everybody equally and roughly. Okay. Any thoughts on the halftime show? I didn't watch it. I didn't watch Super Bowl. I didn't watch the halftime show. I don't even know who won. Who won? Was it paid? I think someone told me partway through the Seahawks were winning 12-0. Did the Patriots come back or the Seahawks just predictably carry on to victory? Like what happened? I don't know. I wasn't really, I don't know. I'm not feeling the Super Bowl this year. And I certainly didn't give a shit about the halftime show or the conservative halftime show, which for the record, like I get it, but I also think is really gay. Like it's like, oh, we're going to compete in the culture. It's like, well, I mean, okay. Like I guess the Seahawks won. Okay. This is an important question. This is in the free chat. So I'm remiss to entertain this, but I do think it's important to address this. Panzer Dude says, Nick, any thoughts on Null being fat? He is large. Rumor has it not even one push-up is possible. All right, let's take a look at this story here, and then we'll go. I do have stories that I've picked out as well. So, but someone mentioned this and they sent money in, so I like that. So the real story behind the midnight immigration raid on Chicago apartment building, the Trump administration has claimed the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua had taken over the building, which I'm not seeing a very defensible structure. The front gate and portcullis appear very flimsy and weak. They're also too short. I think they could be scaled with a stepladder or even just folding chairs. This is not a siege-worthy, defensible building, although there would be a bottleneck at the front door. There would be a bottleneck at the front door, but the large windows offer plenty of points of entry that would have to be defended. And breaching any one of them causes immediate problems for the defenders inside. So I do think taking over the building, I don't think it would be too difficult. They would need to set up some caltrops and other traps to really make a good go of it. But I also just think that the overwhelming amount of force you could bring on that building with basically limitless space around it, even though you may bottleneck and lose some men going in at the beginning, I think the amount of defenders that could possibly be inside, even though there are many rooms and multiple floors, would be pretty minimal. And I think you could just overwhelm them with numbers. And you could use, mercenary or reserve forces that you hire from, other countries for the initial breach, so they can take the brunt of the damage and the losses. And then you save your own well-trained and expensive forces that have families and stuff. You save them, for later. So by the disposable forces, I mean you just throw a bunch of needles inside the it's kind of like a flashbang or like a smoke grenade, but when it opens up, it's just a bunch of needles and like 3 bags of heroin, and just watch the homeless people go in. They'll take it over. They'll probably go in and take it over. You wouldn't even have to send in your forces. I think they'd take the building very quickly. So, yeah, I don't know. This is a hey, Grifty, you want to get banned? Grifty says, today's lesson, a good tailor is your best friend, fellas. Wow, I hate you. Just kidding, brother. Thank you. Thank you for sending that in, ruining my day. All right, so here we go. For months, the Trump administration has justified its dramatic midnight raid on a Chicago apartment complex by saying that it had intelligence that the violent Venezuelan gang, those are slightly worse than the nonviolent gangs, Tren de Aragua. Do they have that? Are there nonviolent gang? What do they call those? Like businesses? Had taken over the building, but officials have provided no evidence to back up that claim. Now, new documents confirm, in the government's own words, that what prompted the raid was more pedestrian. Allegations that immigrants were squatting in the complex. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. I just want to point out, what if now I'm not saying that this is the case, but what if the Tren de Agua people were the ones squatting like that? I mean, that wouldn't be dispositive. That wouldn't be dispositive at all. Here we go. We have, speaking of not dispositive, Debbie Baker with 5 more gifted memberships. Debbie, you are a gem. Thank you so much for bringing your lovely member to so many people today. 15 gifted memberships from Debbie so far. She is really bringing a lot of people into the fold. And I'm proud of her for doing so. If you did get a gifted membership, remember, just say thanks. It's really nice of people to do that and to share that, and also abuse the hell out of it, right? Like, know that you're green in the chat, which means you're cool. And then also know that you have access to all of the member content that I've created and produced, and also the new stuff that comes out, which will be soon. Here we go. Now, new documents. Allegations that immigrants were squatting in the complex, and the landlord had given federal officials who are already targeting immigrants in Chicago the blessing to search the building. Uh-oh. Here we have some interesting questions. We have some interesting questions about who has the right to authorize a search, and that would go down to the lease agreement. This is one of those things that people maybe don't think about so much in your lease agreement, but a landlord who owns a building in which illegal immigrants are squatting, if they're knowingly doing so, maybe an accessory to a criminal action. And so a lot of times in leases, they will write in the ability to, consent to searches by law enforcement. That's a little bit rough, right? If you live there, of course. Arrest records for 2 of the 37 immigrants detained that September night. Sorry. Taylor Swift song popped in my head. Included in a motion filed Tuesday that's tied to an ongoing federal consent decree, provided the clearest picture yet of what led to the controversial and aggressive operation in which agents descended from a Black Hawk helicopter based, broke down doors, and zip-tied U.S. citizens and immigrants. The records reveal that agents entered and searched the complex with the owner-manager's verbal and written consent. Agents wrote that they launched the operation based on intelligence that there were illegal aliens unlawfully occupying apartments. They said they focused their search on units that were not legally rented or leased at the time. Oof. That narrative appears word for word in both arrest reports for a Venezuelan man and a Mexican man. It was a brutal lie against the American public. Well, I don't think so. Like, how is that a lie against the American public? It might be a subset. It's a lie. We'll go there first. Let's start with just the assumption that it is a lie. But if it is, it's not really against the American public. It's a lie against the people who are, quote unquote, the victims of possibly unlawful activity. But as we've seen with INS versus Lopez Mendoza, it really kind of depends on the status of who they're arresting. If they are arresting non-citizens who are unlawfully present, you don't really have much in the way of protections. You just don't have it. Those days are over. The halcyon days, at least for now, the halcyon days of not giving a fuck about a legal system, and then trying to invoke the protections of that legal system that are given to citizens. You know, that one that you ignored just a minute ago, those days are past. Presently. They're in the past presently. I mean, they can come back. The next administration could re-implement those policies in a heartbeat. There's nothing anyone can do about it. But for now, this is the way the executive is choosing to enforce the law that's on the books. And the law that's on the books says, get arrested, get detained, and get out. Miss Ellie Fant says, pro tip, bring your own handcuffs. Also applies to anything I invite you to. That narrative appears word for, brutal lie against the American public, said Mark Fleming, an attorney with the National Immigrant Justice Center and co-counsel in a lawsuit against the government that led to the consent decree. This was really about immigrants purportedly occupying apartments unlawfully, which is radically different than the story they told. Again, I guess it depends on who the immigrants are. They said one guy was Mexican, one guy is Venezuelan. In the people here, is there suspicion that the Venezuelan man was part of this violent gang? Because if they had heard that they had taken over the building and they're relying on that sort of report in making their raid, getting it wrong doesn't mean that there was some sort of breach, but we'll see. U.S. Department of Homeland Security makes no mention in the records of Trenda Aragua, even though officials reportedly cited the gang's presence in the building as a motivation for the raid. All right, let's talk about this real quick because this is important. If you notice something if you notice something very important here. Sleeping Psychopath, he says, nice suit, Nikki. Well, thanks. Thanks. I actually skinned a 1976 Weatherman, and that's where I got this shirt. That's why the collar is so large. But it was a clean kill. I did have to bind his arms and legs briefly while, getting out my skinning knife and removing the garment from him. But he was a Weatherman. There's plenty of them running around. So we're not worried about it. We're not worried about it. Okay, let's talk about this, though, because we saw this with, what was that? Abrego Garcia guy, right? And it's like this guy's he's got tattoos that kind of look like gang tattoos. They've got some intel that says this guy's in Tren de Agua, and then like it's just denial. And how do you prove membership in something that doesn't really like carry a set of documentation? Of course, if you have gang tattoos, maybe they're indicative of participation or membership in a gang, but it's not like they have a member list where you can go and cross-reference it. All of that has to be done by intel that's generated and might need to stay secret. So the question of like whether or not the federal government in their, in the documents that follow mention Tren de Agua, is it Agua? I can never remember how to pronounce this. Aragua, which is like more water. I don't know what that means. I made that up. Tren de Aragua. Their lack of mentioning it doesn't mean a lack of presence. It means a reluctance to state something that might be a fact that's hard to prove and also likely irrelevant to the issue at hand. There's no requirement in a deportation proceeding or an ICE arrest. There's no requirement for the person to be some level of criminal beyond just their criminal presence in the United States. There's nothing. You can be a baby who's illegally here because you crawled across the border or whatever, and they can punt you over the border pretty simply. You know what? Like there isn't some sort of benefit to being like, other than marketing, than to making a claim that someone is part of some violent gang or someone has a violent criminal record, because they can just remove you for your presence here. And I don't know why everybody forgot that. Like all of a sudden, everybody's like, you know what? I don't know why they're removing people who are illegal. Well, because the American people are fucking fed up with it. It's really that simple. They're fed up with it. They overwhelmingly voted in a president who ran on a platform of, you got to go back. You got to go. We don't care where back is. Backs are beautiful and wonderful. Now go to them. Get away. Get out. You can swim. You can fly. You can walk. You can cry. Get the fuck out of our country. That was the platform. It wasn't like we were bait and switched here. This was exactly what the American people asked for. And now we're getting it. And we're getting a bunch of people bitching about it for some reason. You always have to wonder, like, what is it that's motivating the person who's defending the illegal immigrant? I guess there's a general compassion, but it doesn't make sense because where's your compassion for the person? Where's your compassion for the person who's being exploited by the unlawfully present person? Where is it? Where's your compassion for your own friends and family who are being exploited every single day? Now, again, I don't care. Like this is not a make or break issue for me in general. Whatever the policy is of the executive and Congress at the time is fine. There is a sovereign right to determine the puncturability of one's borders. If the sovereign wants an open border policy with cyclical immigration, who am I to bitch about it? I might advocate differently. I might not. I probably wouldn't advocate anything at all. It's not really my place. I don't care. But that said, the sovereign has the right to be self-determinative of who comes in and who has a right to stay. It's right in the Constitution. It's right there. It's not like inferred through some crazy sort of extrapolation of deep text. I mean, it's plain as day. Congress has the power to create a system of naturalization and the laws around it. The executive enforces those laws, plus is a sole organ of foreign relations and handles all matters of state as they relate to other heads of state. And sometimes immigration law overlaps there. Like if you're going to send 100,000 people back to Mexico at once, like you may want to do it diplomatically. You may not. You may not give a shit at all. But that's up to the president. That's their role in managing that relationship with a foreign head of state. It's literally their job. So with those two branches enacting policy, I'm not here to really complain one way or the other. I don't have strong feelings on whether or not we should do this. I just know that we can do this. And if they can do it and it's legal, then people need to shut the fuck up and just vote. That's what you got. That's it. Cat Black says hashtag Buccal the court. Thank you for all your legal wit. Oh, wait, who's Buccal the court? I don't know what that's saying, but you're welcome if you're talking to me, unless you're talking to someone else. Nick Knack says, hail Ricada and the fine people in the chat. Only the finest vintage of chatters are allowed here on the channel. We actually have a screening process, as all of you know. All of you went through it. Those of you who believe that you have beaten the screening process, you didn't. You just passed. That's okay. What do we have this? Rylan Poole says, makeover for the micropene master. Why does he have such a Chadley face here? I don't believe it. I think this is photoshopped. I don't think this is real. Thank you for that.
Daytime Nick makes work less boring. And since my health issues seem to be resolved, I'm diving back into braiding.
Hell yeah.
Tonight I'm starting the design of Aussie Overlord's braid.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I agree with you in your personal assessment that you just said that it's been far too long and you should be ashamed of yourself. No, glad to hear that your health issues have abated. And getting back to braiding is awesome. Guys, Torin makes these wonderful, wonderful braids. I thought braiding was what you do with people's hair while they were asleep on the bus. Turns out you can take like tons of different strands of like threads and like braid them all together. I thought you just did like in threes. No, they're very complex braiding patterns, and Torin knows all of them. Inherently. He woke up gifted with that. I don't know. Debbie Baker with 5 more memberships. Debbie's out here driving the bus to the members section. Like, come to the island. Oh my goodness. I don't know how the bus gets to the island, Debbie, but I respect your ability to do it. Thank you. 5 more memberships. That brings us to 47 members for the stream. We're almost to the arbitrary number of 50. And I love arbitrary numbers. Torin 3 flexing that 1 month of membership. Again, I'm so glad to hear about your health issues, guys. Torin's just a really nice person. He's just really cool. So very, very awesome to see that. Cat Black says, leftists keep Grapus here to spice up fantasies. Yep. I mean, I agree with that. Okay, so here we go. Anyway, long story short, the fact that whatever Nicaragua or whatever isn't mentioned, isn't that weird? Because superfluous, I cannot talk sometimes. Superfluous facts in legal documents aren't helpful. And so if they're going to make a claim that someone's in Nicaragua, then they have to be able to prove that someone's in Nicaragua, or else they kind of look like liars. But if they don't need to rely on that fact, they don't need to put it in any paperwork. Agents paraded immigrants in front of cameras and called their arrests a victory against terrorism. Well, I mean, it is, right? Because let's just say it right now. Illegal immigration is economic terrorism to everybody who is legally present in a country. I took the sunglasses off so you would know I was serious about that, and it was very dramatic. Illegal immigration is economic terrorism. There's no way around it. It sucks up the resources and attention of the country that could be better spent anywhere else. Anywhere else. And I'm tired of pretending otherwise. Speaking of pretending otherwise, Allie Riddle says, Rekieta Law, hello. Hi, Allie. Welcome. Welcome. Okay, so what do we got? Let's see. The government also claimed 2 of those arrested were gang members, but never provided any proof. So there we go. Cool. Why do they have to prove this? Again, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many unlawfully present people were arrested. ProPublica previously reported, based on interviews and records, that there was little evidence to back up the government's claims. Even today, 4 months after they don't need... Oops, I don't have this pulled up. My bad. They don't need to. This isn't an element of the arrest. It's not required to actually have gang members. They're like, okay, look, we've heard that there's gang members there. We're going to go in. We're going to take it out. Or we went in because we heard there were gang members. Okay, fine. Well, we were wrong or we were right. It doesn't matter. This isn't an element of it. Are they unlawfully present? If they are, arrest, deport, goodbye. Even today, 4 months after the raid, federal prosecutors have not filed criminal charges against anyone who arrested. And this is the most... This is one of the most dishonest statements I've ever seen. Did you guys catch this? This is one of the most dishonest statements. Of course not. Removal proceedings are civil. They're not criminal. Why would they file criminal charges when the answer is removal? If they file charges, criminal charges, they have to go through the criminal process. They have the elevated standard of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. And the outcome is a deprivation of liberty or property or both. So a fine and jail time, which the jail time, the trial, all of that needs to be paid for by the American people. Much better to just go, hey, you don't have papers. Get out. Go away. Why would they do criminal charges? We don't really care. We don't want to keep the criminal here. No desire to do that. They commit a crime here. Like, look, this is going to sound horrible, but even murder. Do we want to put them in prison? What if they murder someone in prison? And I know it's a prisoner or whatever, but maybe that person wasn't in prison for life. Maybe they weren't going to die there, but now they did. Well, because we wanted to keep someone here under our criminal justice system? No, just send them back home. Go away. You're not our fucking problem. Cat Black says, ask Bronca about the Buccal the court. It must be done. I will. This is an unreal sentence. Like, because they're trying to, this is a manipulation and the reliance on people's legal illiteracy. And that's the whole point of that line. No, they didn't even file criminal charges. Over the past few months, ProPublica has interviewed 15 of the immigrants detained that night, all denied gang memberships. Well, there you go. That's amazing. Do you have any pictures? Can we see them? Show the pictures of the 15 people you interviewed. I want to see those guys. And I want to see their I wonder if anybody in Chicago's ever denied being in a gang. Especially since criminal activity, like that is gang related, does carry enhancements that specifically will put you in prison for a really long time if you're part of an organized criminal enterprise. Especially one of the named ones. You don't want that. You don't want that in there at all. You don't want that if you run a stoplight. Oh, God. Here we go. They and others who lived in the building acknowledged there was criminal activity there. Well, there's some crime, including the murder of a Venezuelan man last summer, but nobody knew of gang members there. Hey, man, we don't know what happened to him. We don't know why. He just got killed, or what? We probably he was at Walmart and said the wrong thing. The 2 arrest records were filed in federal court as part of ongoing litigation over whether the government, during its months-long deportation campaign in Chicago, violated a 2022 consent decree that limits warrantless arrests. The consent decree is still in place, and the government continues to challenge it. Government attorneys had previously acknowledged in court that hundreds of immigrants detained last year may have been improperly arrested. Here's the problem. INS versus Lopez Mendoza. If you are unlawfully present and you are arrested, even unlawfully, not following proper procedure, the remedy is still removal. The remedy is not to let someone out for ongoing criminal activity. Wait, is a gang member Latin or French? French. Every gang member is French. Okay, so here we go. Following a court order, DHS has been providing administrative arrest records to attorneys who now are demanding the release of some of these immigrants from custody or the removal of restrictions for those who are already out. Okay, I don't want to keep reading this story. It's not really important. I don't think it's really long. It's ProPublica. They are an extremely biased news source, which doesn't make their reporting incorrect. It just makes me not really want to read it. The other thing is, what's the controversy here? They allegedly entered the homes of U.S. citizens. Okay. Did they have consent from the landlord? What does the lease agreement say? If you follow up with, well, these people were squatting and don't have a lease agreement, I'm sorry. The landlord can then consent to the search of the building, of course. The landlord may be able to consent to the search of the building through the lease agreement itself. I'm not positive. I'm not an Illinois lawyer, and certainly if I was representing any of those people, I would take the opposite position. But I think the reality is quite possibly that the release or the consent of the landlord would be sufficient. Now, they may have to provide some level of notice under their lease agreement. And who knows? But here's the problem. That becomes a contractual issue between the landlord and the tenant. If the police are relying on the landlord's representation that they have followed all of the required procedure relating to the sort of the heads up or whatever, that a search may be occurring, and that the landlord has consented to the search, and that's only if that is required. I don't know. But if the police rely on the landlord's representation, then that's not between the police and the person. That's between the landlord and the person. It's a contractual issue. Only if they have a contract. If they're squatters, fuck them. Cat Black says, Boo Kelly. Bookely dookly. And what is it? What is this from? I don't know. So that's that. Thanks for asking about it. That was from Shador asking about that story. My opinion is this: if you're here illegally right now, the federal government wants you out, and I would suggest that you take the opportunity to self-deport, take advantage of the programs that will give you money and an opportunity to get in line like everybody else, and do that as fast as possible before you get arrested. Because once you get arrested, you're going to lose that opportunity, and you're going to lose your hearing. And all of the weird protections that have been granted and observed over the past several decades, those are going away, friend. They're gone. We don't want that anymore. We decided that was bad policy. We voted in someone who was going to change it, and they're doing it. And you're going to have to get over that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. Speaking of getting over it, and we have some interesting stuff going on involving ICE. So a lot of the stories are really about ICE lately. And sorry that immigration law is taking such the national stage if it's not your thing. But it does give us an opportunity to talk about what the Constitution actually says, what it means, who it applies to, and how. And because we take for granted these statements. We just say, oh, well, you can't search a house without a warrant. Oh, you can. There's a bunch of ways to do it. And typically, you need a warrant to do so, but there's exceptions to the warrant requirement that have been recognized and baked into the system by the Supreme Court. So when we have those, once we establish that exceptions exist, we just have to determine how exceptions are made and codified. And we may be seeing the creation of a new exception with the administrative warrant, or the recognition of an existing exception, maybe a better way to put it, under existing law. But again, administrative warrants that allow people the entry into the home are limited in scope. They have to be someone who has a final removal order, and the home has to be the primary residence of that person, not of someone else. It can't be a third-party home. And it's also not, they're not allowed to conduct a criminal search. They can only do any sort of seizure of property through plain view doctrine, which means that it is in plain view. No movement or inspection needs to take place. And the contraband nature of the material is notorious, open and notorious, so that anybody looking at it would know. So like, again, a big pile of drugs, for example, they're going to go, oh yeah, that's not allowed. Or even a small vial of drugs, as it may be. But also, like if they're in the home of an illegal immigrant and there's a gun there that might be notoriously illegal. Here we go. Tyler the Perfect Storm says, nobody cares about this. We're here for smut talk, bro. Well, cool. Get smutted out, you hoe. There. There's a smut talk for you. Mr. Miller, member for 2 months. Welcome, Mr. Miller. Thank you for flexing your membership status. Really appreciated.
Nick, we know when you were born that your nose crossed the border. We need to deport it any time. You turn your head and it swings over the states again. Plus, it knocked down my house.
That house needed to go, and you know it. I'm so tired of this complaint over and over and over. So here we have the judge blocking enforcement of California's law banning masks for ICE agents. This is interesting to me. Probably not to any of you, but like I said, this is a midstream. So this is interesting to me because we have states trying to regulate federal agents and federal actions, and it's just not working, and they're going to just have endless tantrums about this. But ICE agents wear masks. Most law enforcement officers do not wear masks, which may surprise people, and people may be further surprised to realize that this is a very heavily debated and fleshed out civil rights issue. They believe that a law enforcement agent wearing a mask is a civil rights abuse of the citizenry. I don't know that I quite agree with this. I kind of get the logic behind it. But the idea is that we need accountability of officers, right? And I really don't think the ability to see an officer's face in and of itself is the accountability we're looking for. Because let's just say that in the hubbub of being arrested and in the stress of being arrested, you may not actually be looking at and processing a face from memory. You might, but I think when you go back and look, they look different than you remember. And that could be for any number of reasons. You could have been on some sort of substance. You could have some sort of injury, like a concussion if you'd been tackled, or if you'd been involved in a fight, depending on the circumstances. Or you're just stressed out, and stress makes us remember things a little bit differently. It can exaggerate features or make us just not look at certain things that we think we're looking at. Like you can look at someone's face and not see it. But it is considered a civil right to be able to identify officers. But we have other methods for identifying officers. Namely, they all have badge numbers that are supposed to be displayed and available. But for whatever, for whatever purpose that I guess there is, people have decided that seeing a face is a civil right. However, ICE runs into a little bit of a different problem. ICE routinely and specifically deals with some of the most horrific criminal enterprises in the entire world in regards to human trafficking, drug trafficking, gun trafficking. ICE deals with cartels. ICE is not just interested in unlawfully present people. They're also interested in the criminal actions associated with those unlawfully present people. The trafficking of people into the country is one of those things. Also, along with people coming into the country illegally, tends to be things like drugs and or guns coming in illegally. And the people who engage in this sort of behavior are some of the most dangerous, violent, and horrifying people on the entire planet. Seeing an ICE agent's face in one of these operations puts that ICE agent at risk. Specifically, puts their families at risk as well from organizations that are notorious for going after people's families and associates as punishment for interference with what they do. Now, yes, of course, other law enforcement agents end up dealing with members of cartels and gangs. Yes. But I think people might be surprised. I would be surprised to find out that gang task forces in inner cities are not wearing masks during specific operations involving the rounding up of gang members or busting up a drug ring. But maybe they're not. I'm not versed enough to know that. I know that they assert that regular law enforcement does not wear masks and they're not allowed to. But I just don't quite buy it for those types of operations. But hey, who am I to do so? But what I do know is that ICE agents are particularly situated to deal with these organizations on a regular basis. And the courts have actually allowed ICE to maintain this policy. Well, with the surge of ICE agents and the national attention that it has garnered and the opportunity for Democrat politicians to garner votes from that attention, places like California have tried to pass laws banning masks altogether for ICE agents. You can't wear those in our state. And it is kind of, there's a little bit of like joyous irony to California banning masks, right? Like, isn't that just perfectly poetic based on what was it, 6 years ago or so with COVID and how they treated masks, requiring everyone to wear them. Suddenly now they're trying to ban them. It's amazing. But hey, the judge blocks enforcement of California's law banning masks for ICE agents, but also turned down the federal government's request to block another California law aimed at abuses in immigration enforcement. A judge on Monday blocked California from enforcing a new law sharply limiting when federal agents can wear masks while engaged in deportation operations. U.S. District Judge Christina Snyder, I was about to say Schneider, but no, Snyder, rejected the Trump administration's claim that ICE agents need to wear masks to prevent doxing. However, in a 30-page decision, the judge said California's No Secret Police Act appears to violate the Constitution's Supremacy Clause by discriminating against the federal government because the law's provisions do not apply to state law enforcement officers. This is amazing. This is wild. So she rejects the idea that they need this to prevent doxing. And ask Jonathan Ross, of course, who is doxed, who is not only doxed, he is a public employee. The whole doxing thing in general with public employees is a little bit, it's already iffy because, well, they're a public employee, they're a federal, they're a government agent. Talking about their address should be a free speech issue. However, when you dox them with the intent of causing them fear, apprehension, or direct harm, that's different because it's that part of it. That part of it is the criminal act, not the words, not the doxing words itself. It's the act and intent behind it. So when you do that with the intent that the officer will be harmed in some way, even if it's just an apprehension of harm, that's a typical assault. Even if it's just that is unlawful. But it's the act that is unlawful. The speech is generally protected itself. However, we know that ICE agents are doxxed and are being doxxed specifically with the intent of causing them harm. Like that is happening. That's good. You can watch it occur. It occurred after the Renee Good shooting. Very quickly. It happened on the national news and it happened on Twitter, and nobody seemed to give a shit about it at all. It's kind of amazing. So how? So she says on equal protection and constitutional supremacy clause grounds. I mean, the supremacy clause is the main thing here, but it's not because of the discrimination. I don't get where she's drawing this discrimination against the federal government. That's not what the supremacy clause has as the, that's not why the supremacy clause works here. The supremacy clause works because fuck you, we're the federal government. And the states don't have the right to regulate the actions of federal agents. They just don't. That's the supremacy clause. Not like, well, you're not also banning masks from state level law enforcement officers. That's dumb. That's a stupid application of the supremacy clause. But one thing you'll learn is that state judges don't have an intelligence requirement or a good lawyer requirement. In fact, I know a couple lawyers who believe that judges are bad lawyers because they are taking a massive pay cut to be judges. I think that might be a little unfair, but there's also a little bit of truth to it. You don't always see the best application of law by judges, especially state court judges who may not have been in office all that long because of the election cycles and or political appointments that bring them into the black robes. If only we knew how to get them all out of the black robes, you know what I mean? The act treats federal law enforcement officers differently than similarly situated state law enforcement officers, Snyder concluded. But the judge also turned down the federal government's request to block another California law aimed at abuses in immigration enforcement, the No Vigilantes Act. It requires most local, state, and federal law enforcement personnel to display their name or badge number while on duty. Now, see, this one I agree with. I do think that you have to be able to find out what officer was involved in you, right? Whatever they've done, you have a right to know your accuser, and that includes the officer behind the badge. But that's why we have ICRs, incident reports. That's why we have badge numbers, and we have a database of officers that we can cross-reference the badge number and name against and find out who it was. It also, seems like a balanced system, and I don't know why there's a desire to try and overcome it. A badge number displayed on a uniform, some sort of patch or whatever is not that's not like a notorious way for people to easily identify an officer and cause them harm later on. You get a badge number when you have a typically a more intimate interaction with the police. I mean, you ask for it. You have the opportunity to ask for it, or you grab it from the ICR report that you get later, or from your criminal complaint or civil complaint, as it may be, depending on how that goes. That'll be part of the record. That'll give you the opportunity to ask questions and maybe even depose the officer, depending on what's going on in your case, what you're accused of, and what you may be accusing the government of. Eric MC says, curious how supremacy clause upholds when the feds won't enforce state law. This is a great question. When feds won't enforce federal laws and state steps in to do them, i.e. Texas wants to enforce the border and the Biden administration force them to take down barriers. The supremacy clause means that the federal government always wins. The ways in which the federal government doesn't win is when the state shows that the state actions are protected by the 10th Amendment, that they are rights that are reserved to the states because they're not specifically granted to the federal government. If it is something that is in the purview of the federal government, they win, which is why they have actually, they were able to still, if they wanted to, enforce on states that had legalized marijuana for a long time. There was always a threat that they could do that. And the cases in which federal supremacy did take over and involved specifically what you're talking about, involved marijuana and I believe the Violence Against Women Act, which is a federal law protecting women, blah, 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 even though the states tend to have an analog to the Violence Against Women Act, and states had, analogous laws to the Controlled Substances Act. But federal enforcement, I'm trying to think of the case specifically. I'm not going to come up with the name, but long story short, there were a group of individuals who were growing marijuana plants inside their hovel, and the federal government found out about it. And even though the state at the time, and this is a long time ago, this is not like a recent Colorado case. This is a case from the 60s, I believe. But the state government wasn't enforcing on these people, and the federal government came in, asked for state assistance. The state didn't provide the assistance. The federal government made the arrest and made the charges, and the state was like, no, we get to enforce marijuana stuff. And the Fed said, fuck you, no you don't. We wrote it down on paper. That means we win. And it's true. Because of the Commerce Clause, which controls the Controlled Substances Act, the federal government has the ability to regulate interstate commerce. Because of Wickard versus Filburn, the federal government can determine that non-participation in commerce is participation in commerce, which is regulable as well. So the state's desire to not enforce lost. And that was always a threat with the, with Colorado and Washington State legalizing marijuana, and, of course, that being spread to all these states. Now that marijuana is regulated down to Schedule 3 as opposed to Schedule 1, we have a little bit of a different legal landscape that needs to be navigated and fleshed out. But the federal government will always win on an act that is within the purview of the federal power. That's all Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, and some Section 9, but typically Article 1, Section 8 is powers granted and delegated to Congress. Those powers are given from the states and the people to Congress, or from the executive to Congress. They're given there to them, which means that the other people don't have them, insofar as the federal government doesn't want them to have them. If the federal government doesn't care, the state's free to enforce in the way that they choose. Of course, you can make the argument that, like, if the state wants to regulate commerce, that they just can't interstate commerce. The state can only regulate intrastate commerce, and even that's kind of questionable. But federal supremacy always wins, even if the federal government is not enforcing. The executive, and this goes back to like Bush versus Sierra Club or whatever as well. The executive is in charge of choosing how it executes the law and best allocates its attention and resources. And because of that, they get a lot of leeway on these issues. And you can't force the federal government to enforce its laws. They've tried over and over and over. Doom says, when is the karmic section or segment? I don't have a karmic segment today, Doom. If you want me to look at something karmic related, you can certainly bring it up. I don't know. I haven't really been watching. I just like when he says, "You want to fuck?" It kills me every time. It's funny. Speaking of funny, E. Poindexter gifting 5 memberships to the chat. Thank you, E. Poindexter. That brings us to 52 members staying. Oh my God, that is just a sea of beautiful, beautiful members. A lady might start breathing fast about now. Thank you, E. Poindexter, for sharing with the chat. Always appreciate the sharing around here. Cherry DB says, so happy to see you on during the day. This is an 8-month member chat. That's 8 months of someone's life that they've decided to spend here with you guys. That's amazing. So happy to see you on during the day. I'm trying to do this more. I really am. I have a drive to pick up my grands from school. Now I have something worth listening to. Oh my God. I am so sorry that this is what you've landed on, but we'll do our best. We'll do our best. Wildling Soul, hashtag get groomed. Member for 3 months. It's 3 months of inadequate grooming. I'm very, very disappointed in you, Wildling, for not getting groomed hard enough. Says, have you joined MIB? Use the flashy thing on us. Men in Black with the little, I always looked at that and saw just massive potential for abuse. Like, could you imagine if, certain people had that? Like, what happened? Pff, nothing. Don't worry about it. Oh my God. What a disaster. E. Poindexter, 6 months of membership. So sharing is caring unless it's micropenes. Right. Sharing a micropene is actually, that's abusive, I think, and should not be done. It should not be done at all. D. Huat says Karmic is tragically hilarious. Yeah. I like Karmic. I think he doesn't like me though, which is fine. But I don't, I don't have a desire to, pick on him or anything. I think some of the stuff he does is really funny. But that's more appropriate for a member stream anyway than this type of show. Okay, back to this. Snyder, a Clinton appointee. And this is, of course, what we see, right? Over and over and over. When we have these federal issues, we're seeing decisions that do reflect a lot of times the appointed or the appointing president. In this case, not as much. I mean, it's a little split on the two issues, but I think this judge, despite her reasoning being relatively stupid, I think she came to the right conclusion. I think I should certainly be allowed to wear masks, but I do believe that a name or badge number displayed on their uniform is a fair compromise on the requirement. Now, the question simply, though, is can the state bind federal law enforcement to doing this? I think they should automatically. Okay, so but the question of can the state do it is a little bit different. And her saying that the state can require that from federal officers does seem to violate the supremacy clause, and oddly enough, some free speech issues. Right? It's compelled speech. It is compelling them to say something or display something that they otherwise might not do. And that's an interesting conundrum. We'll have to see how this holds up. I'm guessing the federal government will appeal it. And this is an interesting thing about what's been going on. If you don't like Trump's policies here, and if you don't like the push for federal enforcement of immigration laws or federal enforcement of anything, or the massive just presidential meat flex that Trump has been doing, watch it grow, watch it move, watch it wiggle, just with my mind. If you don't appreciate that, that's fine. And that's understandable. But take a moment and understand the benefit that we're getting here. These are issues that have been unresolved for sometimes over a century in the United States. What is the balance of federal and legislative power here? What is the federalist balance between federal and state authority? I said federal and legislative. I meant executive and legislative. Executive and legislative power, that power balance, and of course the federal judicial branch as well coming into the mix and throwing a couple rounds. But we also have this federalism issue, state versus federal government. Where does the power go? States are supposed to have some rights. The federal government does wield a significant amount of power, and we're seeing a clash on this. And again, we have the opportunity to resolve issues that can be as much as a century old or older. And how we have not gotten around to this is kind of shocking to me. Well, just beware, dropping five gifted memberships on the chat out of nowhere from the top ropes. 57 members so far today. That is, again, tragically amazing. Thank you guys for that. You are really, really showing up and kicking ass today. And I'm barely doing anything. I mean, you guys are putting in all the work. Although I am noticing a distinct lack of likes, which hurts my feelings. And I'm going to call my big brother. By Big Brother, I of course mean the federal government. I don't have an elder male sibling, so. But my sister's gonna kick your ass if you don't click the like button. Mean. Okay, anyway. Snyder, a Clinton appointee based in Los Angeles, said the law is likely to pass constitutional muster because it applies more broadly, including to California officials. I don't think the states can do it. I believe that federal officers and state officers should be required to have a badge number, some identifying thing on their uniform. I do not believe they necessarily need to have their face displayed personally, but I guess I see why some people do. But I think I should be exempt from that. But I just don't see where the state draws the authority to tell federal officers what they can and can't do. That one, I just don't see it. She also suggested the anti-masking law would be constitutional if it were broadened to cover state law enforcement as well. And again, I'm going to disagree with her on this because of federal supremacy. I think she'll end up losing on the other case if the feds decide to pursue it. Steve C over in the chat on Locals says, what the fuck are you doing online at noon? We're doing a mid-show here, Steve. Get with the mediocre program. My God. Can you believe this? This is special sauce. Nick's sister has to kick our ass because her shoulders are bigger than Nick's. Facts. She's always been cooler than me. The court finds that these acts serve the public interest by promoting transparency, which is essential for accountability and public trust. Moreover, the court finds no cognizable justification for law enforcement to conceal their identities during the performance of routine, non-exempted law enforcement functions and interactions with the general public, Snyder wrote. Democratic State Senator Scott Wiener, who authored the mask ban on Monday. How many Wieners? There's Anthony Weiner and there's Scott Wiener. How many Wieners? How many politicians have the last? I'm going to ask. How many politicians have the last name Wiener? Johnson was the first one. Wiener. Let's see. Let's get this AI answer. 4 notable Wieners. We've got Scott, Anthony, Mike, Janice. Gary Wiener was a former Canadian member of Parliament, so the Canadians have 1 Wiener. Very embarrassing. Imagine coming to the table with only one of those guys. We've got 4. Stupid Canada, you dumb hat.
Remember when the People's Republic of California arrested people for not wearing masks in public? Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Pepperidge Farm does remember. Is it Pepperidge Farm remembers or Pepperidge Farms remember? Is it a plural? Is Pepperidge Farms a singular? That's a tough one. That's an English question. The Redneck Hipsters is 4. That's almost a Piper Perry video. Now, that girl's anatomy does not make sense. Where's all her organs go? I don't get it. Okay, so Democratic State Senator Scott Wiener, who authored the mask ban on Monday, announced he would propose legislation adding state law enforcement to the law in response to the ruling. So they're going for this. The lawmaker last year exempted state level officers while applying the proposal to federal and local agencies amid intense opposition from law enforcement groups. We didn't like it last year. We like it now, though. Auntie M, 1 month member. Let's see. Says, why not chip agents like you do your pet? Yeah, so you can just go up and like, whoop, and just scan them. Be like, oh, this is Agent Sterling. Or whatever. That's pretty good. I like that idea. We could also keep a track on them. Very important. Casey Cat and Cool Aid Kitten says, hey, chat, autocorrect is making me tarded. Yeah, I can see that. I haven't seen what it is, but I can see that. Let's see. Attorney General Rob Bonta's office agreed not to enforce either law while Snyder was considering the Trump administration's request to block the statutes. Snyder stayed her ruling until February 19th, so enforcement of the identification requirement is unlikely to kick in before then. That law could also remain on hold if the Trump administration gets a further stay from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, and I would think that this is likely to happen. The appellate courts have been very favorable to Trump on these issues. These are pretty clear federalism issues with federal supremacy involved, and outside of some district court level judges who come in and try and block federal agents from doing something, the appeals court come in and they're like, what are you doing? You can't do that. The judicial branch doesn't have the authority to regulate the executive branch like this. What is this? What is this shit? Bring back the wrenches? You mean mods? Ew. Gross. That's disgusting. Bonta in a statement didn't specify how the state would respond to the split rulings. Quote, safe communities thrive on transparency and trust, and California is committed to doing our part to uphold public safety and civil liberties, he said. The Justice Department did not immediately respond to a request for comment on the ruling. The widespread use of masks by ICE agents as they have carried out President Donald Trump's immigration crackdown across the country has stoked intense rebukes from city and state leaders. One of those words is wrong in there, who say it is creating fear and hindering accountability. Who's afraid of a masked ICE agent? Illegal immigrants. That was racist. I'm sorry. Trump administration officials say the masks are meant to protect ICE from harassment, doxing, and recriminations that they have faced at a skyrocketing rate over the past year. And this is one of those, I'll be critical here. This is one of those statistics. It's like, well, it's a skyrocketing rate because you massively inflated ICE interactions with the people. Like in Minnesota, for example, you sent 2,000 agents and then another 1,000 agents. We had 3,000 ICE agents in here at one point, which is it's a huge amount of law enforcement showing up. And then they had a specific mandate to interact with people at a much higher rate. And so, more interactions are going to increase the incidence of harassment, doxing, and recrimination. That's just going to happen. But it shouldn't happen at all, but just from a numbers perspective. But Snyder dismissed those claims, saying the masking was likelier. Likelier? More likely, right? Likelier? Such as well might happen to be true, probable. Wait, that's likely. Comparative adjective is likelier. Is likelier grammatically correct? Okay. It says likelier is as correct as more likely. I don't believe that. And I think we should change it. The sun is out. What the fuck is Nick doing awake? We've sacrificed enough children on locals, that's its purpose, to actually give me a temporary immunity from the incinerating effects of the sun that vampires like myself normally face. So that's nice. Thank you for that. Big contribution from the local strip clubs who are happy to redirect their Moloch donations to the Ricada Vampire Prevention Fund for a short amount of time. It really didn't take long. Trump administration officials say the master, blah, 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 blah. Likelier to heighten the sense of insecurity for all. I mean, I guess that does help with word count, because I guess saying the masking was more likely to heighten the sense of insecurity for all It didn't help that much. That was one word maybe he's like, I got to come in at 600 words and he's at 601. Her conclusion that masking is not necessary to protect law enforcement was reinforced, she said, by ICE's acknowledgement that it's left to the discretion of each officer rather than forced as an agency-wide policy. And this is where we can see a state judge being an actual retard, because she's like, well, look, if you're not forcing them to wear masks, if you're not requiring them to wear masks, then all of the reasonings behind the masks don't exist. But that's dumb, because certain times ICE agents may not want to wear a mask. They may want to appear more friendly. They may want to appear less threatening. They may have some other purpose. So this is very silly to say this. Giving the officers the discretion to wear or not wear a mask is the proper way to handle this situation. And look, just because a judge gets a ruling correct doesn't mean that the judge has any sort of intelligence or proper reasoning behind that. They sometimes just dumbly default into the right decision, which is amazing, and I'm proud of them for doing so. My goodness. Let's shift gears a little bit. Partway. This is a partway shift. We're going to talk about birthright citizenship in just a minute, but I need to go to the bathroom. If you can bear with me for just a second, I will be right back, and then we'll continue with this. But I got to go to the bathroom real quick before we get started on the next topic. Don't go anywhere. We're still here. If you go anywhere, infidel, you will be sent to Allah post haste. I'll be right back. Hello. Praise Allah. I have returned. Okay. Wow. Wow. What's up, guys? We've been going for a while now. almost 2 hours, which is pretty cool. This is just a midstream reminder that we have a new feature available on Super Tips. So just the tip or whatever. You can now do image tips. We've gotten a couple image tips earlier today. This one being, like one of the more racist ones that we've received. This is actually hateful and has been reported to the FBI. And Grifty will be killed for it. But yes, image tips are available on Super Tips. It works just like Super Chat, but you can upload an image. You can actually AI generate images as well, like in the program itself. So you can do that if you want. Go ahead and play with it, but not too hard. You will go blind. Amazing Disgrace says, I am rating you. Submit. Okay. Oh, submission has occurred. I don't know what that means or looks like, but it is there. Wow. Wow. Okay, so we've got We've got a little bit of a topic shift to start, but I don't know if we should do that just yet, because maybe we should watch a video of someone getting beat up. That's always cool. Right on Gal, obviously talking to me, says, hey girl, been doing school with the kid, broke for lunch. I was gonna rewind. Worth it. Yeah, baby, I'm worth it. Come on. Of course. So this is, a lot of times I just go ahead and share stuff with myself with the idea that I'm going to watch it later on stream, and then I just don't. But oh no. Okay, just a second. I gotta get rid of this. All right. This has nothing to do with what I just said. To be clear, but this is important to watch, I think. We need some audio. Need to mute that. Robert, wait, hold on. MO Farmer says Nick is getting as many members as a point star. Do you mean like a ballet point star? Is that a ballet dick joke? I like it. If it is, I like it. I'll take it. Guys, someone tell me that this is real. And if you can prove it, I don't know what I'll do, but this has to be fake, because this isn't possible. I saw this. This is a break, okay, from the law talk, except for the laws of physics. It's also a break from that. Making my husband attempt Dylan and Danielle's dance. Okay, so this is legally related, and it's very important that we watch this real quick. Okay.
My man's stronger than the economy in the 90s. Got the strength.
What the? No. I don't know how that happened. I don't know how that worked. I don't know how, this guy can wrist curl a bus. Earbud death. Oh shit. I don't know. I'll have to turn these. Thanks for telling me. I can maybe turn that down. I can turn that down. Give me a second, because I do have another Instagram video, so we get the specific one turned down. Okay, I guess I don't want to steal the reviewers' content, but this man is stronger than the economy in the 90s. Oh my God. That was a big lady, large individual. Whew. What do we got here?
Plot twist, the husband is the one being held horizontal and the wife is the one doing the lifting.
That could be. Oh my God. That's a large lady, and that's dedication. I've only seen dedication like that once before. I was a cheerleader, as many of you know and make fun of me for. Thanks. Ouch. One time one of the football players, so one of the real athletes, came in to our cheerleading practice because his girlfriend was on she was a cheerleader, right? Like very common to have football players dating a cheerleader. Now, the interesting feature of this that was not so common was that one cheerleader was the size of a normal cheerleading squad by herself. Mind you, this is central Minnesota. And that girl was hefty. She was hefty. Easily in excess of 275 pounds. Probably over $3 bills. A Limp Bizkit song in the making. And he's there. He was I don't know if he was an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman, but he's a big motherfucker. He wasn't super tall because, again, a shitty school in the middle of Minnesota. Like we didn't have the biggest, best players. They all went to somewhere important, but he was still big. Like he was way bigger than me, and that guy had to be 250 pounds easy. And his girl looks at him. I can explain this. He was black, and she was a boat. He can't swim. He needs help. So she looks at him and she says, "Can you lift me?" The sigh that emanated from that man's lips would have split a mountain if there were one around. I mean, there was, but she was standing next to him. She wasn't in front of him. She was safe. Just he gets his hand up in the jelly, right? And he's going to do the one arm lift. It's called a chair. And that's where typically a woman sits down on your hand. And since she is small, it's basically like you put your hand on her lady parts and then you just lift her up, because that's how cheerleading is supposed to work. This one, I'm sure he had to fish for a solid place inside that whole thing. And he lifted for all he was worth. And man, was he worth a lot, because he got that woman to about here. And he couldn't lift her the whole way, but he did hold her up there, which was maybe more impressive. It's like, we just sat there clapping. It's like, oh my God, how did you do that? This is also, I'm telling you that I don't even know if you should be chatting with the lack of grooming that's happening. Then his arm disappeared. Yes, that was true. That was true. But it wasn't because he went inside. It's just because there was so much extra tissue on the outside that it hung down. It was a Herculean feat. And this video reminded me of that. She was bigger than this girl. But what this guy did is more physically impressive. Don't get me wrong. Even though the other girl was larger, that was a very basic lift. This one was rotating like that. Had to be something else. I don't know. Cat Black, grab him by the hoo-ha. Yeah, I mean, it's called a chair. It's just right there, and their taint goes right in the middle of your hand. That's how it goes. So that whole thing in Bring It On, where it's like, oh, you can slide a finger in there. You do that, and you're breaking your fingers. That's not real. That's not true. Don't believe the communist propaganda. Don't do. You can't do that. I mean, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. You definitely can't do that with the little like Spanx that they wear on. You can't do it with like. You could try it without clothing, but I think you would get injured, and so would she. Don't do that at all. The redneck hipster says, "Call it a pussy." But she wrote hoo-ha. I was just. It was more than it's the whole area. You can't just wantonly run around calling it stuff like that. Okay, this is the one. This isn't the one. This isn't the one I was thinking of, but this one is important. This is a video of a corrections officer. Well, a team of corrections officers, and they're about to. These are male We've got a comparison. We've got male correction officer in a female prison, and then we have a female correction officer in a male prison. So we do have the comparison. You guys can see how these are handled differently. Prisons are managed differently based on who's present. How you handle the population that exists. But let's start with this one. I've hopefully adjusted the volume. These gentlemen are correction officers, and they are about to enter the cell of a non-compliant female detainee, and so you can.
Did you let her know what's going to happen if we have to come in here and get her?
Yes, sir. We went through everything. She's not listening.
So she already knows.
She knows.
Come on, brother. Give me a second before you open it. Let me see if I can talk to her. Dominique is the warden.
Look at my girl Dominique. Oh my God. Holy shit. What do you do? What do you do? Dominique lactates Hennessy like Jesus. Look at how big this chick is. God. She can bench press my problems. Okay, so they have to go in. They have to go in and take care of Dominique. I don't think we have any footage of the actual taking care of.
I need you to turn around and get down on your.
Who says they couldn't have a women's NFL? I don't believe them. I don't believe them at all. Dominique is out here. Are those like those like Farrakhan glasses too? So is she educating the sisters in there as well?
Your knees.
Oh wait, no, those aren't glasses. Again, I don't want to steal the commentary of these other people. Great channels. This is Elijah Janti. I don't follow this guy or whatever. He just showed up in my feed. He's very funny. But I don't want to steal their commentary or anything like that. That's not what I'm just showing. I'm just showing that. I'm just going through my legal videos. We're taking a break from discussing the legal subjects and articles that are out there. Just some nice little entertainment break. This one's different. This one is the sentencing hearing of a mother She showed no remorse for unaliving 2 of her children and putting them in the freezer. I don't think that's actually... Oh, yeah. Who killed her 2 oldest kids, then put them in the freezer because the youngest boy told her they raped him. Wow. So, obviously, we're in not a good situation. This is not... You don't want to be there. You don't want to do that. Hold on. Ocean Redux says, how do you do, fellow glowies? So how's the Epstein invite coming? You're going to go? I'll make sure to bring the jerky. I was never invited to an Epstein party. Thank God. Holy shit. MO Farmer. Can you imagine, like, okay, let's say you're just a normal person, right? Like, and you somehow score an invite to like an Epstein party. Now, I don't know how this would occur. I can't tell you guys details. This is not an Epstein party, but I have been invited. I didn't go. Actually, I did my stand-up set on the same day. I couldn't go. But I have been invited to like an exclusive elite secret party one time in my life. And I wanted to go because it sounded insane. And in hindsight, if I would have gone to that instead of my stand-up set, my life would be very different, I think. But I didn't make it. But like this party was described to me and I was like, this sounds like the funniest thing I've ever heard of in my life. It sounds like an abject disaster that no one should go to. I want to go really bad. And then I found out the date and I had already agreed to do the stand-up set, with Chrissy Mayer. So I said, I can't go. Sorry. Too bad. Importantly, not an Epstein thing or anything like that, at least to my knowledge. But now imagine you're like a normal person. And in a similar fashion to what happened to me, I'm not normal, but like you stumble your way into an invite to something that's exclusive. And they're like, so what we're going to do, like, look, bro, we're going to go, we got a private jet. Do I have to pay for that? No, you don't have to pay anything. Just trust. We got a private jet. And it's a big one. It's not one of those little shitty ones. We got a private jet. We're going to fly you down to an island. We're all going to go to this island. It's going to be cool. There's like a massage thing there. There's like a spa. You're going to probably meet like Bill Gates. I hear that guy just sits around, doing something there all day. I don't know, maybe programming, I guess. Like he's there and Clinton's there. I mean, this sounds like lame, but just remember these are the cool Democrats, I think. Just imagine being described the party and you're like, okay, like this sounds fine. And you get there and it's like, why are there so many kids? How do I go back? Right? How do I do you have to swim away? How do I do that? Like can you turn the plane? Like, can we put the plane back in the sky for a minute? To me, that'd be the weird thing. Like, cause it would sound good. Like they'd be like, we're going to go to this really elite party. It's going to be awesome. They're going to have like Grey Goose there. It's not going to be Tito's, man. Like it's going to be something. Somebody was like, yeah, that sounds fun. Like, let's do that. Like, they're going to watch like football or something. Yeah, kind of. Nick becomes a Dubai model. Yeah, that bathroom thing sounds great. Let's try it. Robert Lester, MO Farmer. I got robbed by autocorrect. That was more members than a porn star. Oh, okay. Well, Point Star works too, I think. Ocean Redux says, I didn't go because I had a stand-up set. Who are you, Tim Dillon? I'm of the old-fashioned thing. If it was just like a random stand-up set or something, I definitely would not have done that. But, a friend invites you to do something and you book a show with a friend, like you honor your commitments to the best of your ability. I'm old-fashioned that way. And so despite, I wouldn't have been able to tell you guys about this party either. Like the way it was described to me, it sounded insane. It sounded insane. But, maybe someday I'll get an invite back to it. I doubt it. But yeah, so the Yeah, I'm old fashioned in the way, like, you make a commitment and you go like, well, another thing might sound interesting or wild or fun, but I've committed to another thing, and you honor that. That's what you do. Frederick Little says, hey, Nick, hope all is well. A lot of people were divided about the Super Bowl halftime show. Wanted to ask your thoughts on it. I didn't watch it. I don't really care for Bad Bunny generally. He dry humps at me too aggressively and in Spanish. And look, if you're going to dry hump at me in America, it better be like, what is this? I can't say that. I was going to say, we fixed Selena that was rude. Selena did not deserve to be killed or whatever. So I didn't actually want to make that joke. No, I'm not a big fan of that guy in general. His music doesn't appeal to me. And yeah, the dry humping in the weird, like, gay biker short thing, I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. And C1005, welcome, joining at the paralegal level. Thank you, Ann, for sharing your for becoming a member with the chat. This group of miscreant degenerates is feisty but lovable, as I'm sure you are aware, because you are also feisty and lovable. That brings us to 58 members for the stream, which is amazing. And guys, I keep having to say speaking of, because there's so much to speak of. Speaking of amazing, Rosalind Duke, a friend of mine, of whomstead of channel you should check out. Rosalind Duke, we have Kurt's dating advice and chicken shop. All the dating advice and chicken you could possibly find. Again, new products at Kurt's Dating Advice and Chicken Shop. Pounded chickens for your pounded chicks. Rosalind says, I should be working, but here I am making stupid stuff. This is not stupid, Rosalind. It is beautiful. Thank you very much. Guys, check out Rosalind on YouTube. She's very fun, very funny. And she had me on the show, which means she's cool. She's cool. She's one of those people you can be like, hey, are you cool? Like, you don't even have to ask. You already know she is. She's cool. You can do whatever. Like, share your member or whatever. Okay. So we got this. So this is a sentencing hearing, and I'm just going to play this because it's horrifying. That's it. There's no story. I mean, maybe I'll pontificate, but this is just horror. Abject horror.
It is your voluntary choice to enter this plea.
It is.
Okay. And subject yourself to a mandatory life sentence.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Ms. Blair.
Well, thank God we figured that out.
What did you do to Stony Blair that makes you guilty of premeditated murder?
She raped my son. I intentionally killed her. I repeatedly punched her. On many occasions, my son, I told him to tell.
So when I watched this the first time, I didn't actually read anything. I was just like, oh, and I was just listening. So here I am thinking like this is a based protective mom who's like, oh, you raped my son, I'll kill you. Turns out it was her own kids. What a monster. Holy shit.
Tell me every single thing she did to him. So as she was telling me, he was telling me more and more things that she did. I assaulted her every time he told me what she did to him. By assault, I mean I punched her. I have put a bag over her head till she lost consciousness. I threw hot water on her. Scalding hot water from the faucet.
Did you hit her in the head with a wooden stick?
Yes, I hit her on her head multiple times, over and over.
Was that shortly before she died?
Ocean Redux says, so it was bullshit. Don't know. I have no idea. What I do know is like, let me give you a legal advice. You cannot torture and murder someone for what they have done in the past. Like a very, very common mistake. You can torture and murder someone who's in the active, act of pulling a trigger on a gun or whatever at you. If you can quickly, you can move quick to get the torture in there, but the defensive murder, that's allowed. That's allowed. You got to be crafty and creative because the torture has to be really fast and also kind of make sense. I don't know if you have have a really powerful air compressor and you like blow their skin off or something, that's cool. I just thought of that. Try that out sometime. But self-defense someone with that. Pah! What if you ever saw that? That's something you would see. Have you guys ever seen those videos like in where it's like a gang like fight or skirmish or gunfight or whatever, and someone comes out just walking casually like through this dangerous melee, and you're like, what's that guy doing? And then they do something so like shockingly horrifying. Like they're just like, rah, and they just split someone in half with an axe or something. Like that would be one of those things where it's like all these people are fighting. They just go up with this super air compressor, just blow someone's skin off. That would be wild. I would expect that, like in a battle for a 7-Eleven in Chicago. Southside only. #respect.
That was actually days before she died and the day she died.
Oh.
Did this happen on or about May 25th, 2014, to the best of your
May
recollection?
25th is actually the day she died. Okay. Well, the day I killed her.
And you said you killed her by putting a grocery bag over her head?
Yes, and I do not feel any remorse for what I did to Stoney. So I grabbed Steven,
Holy shit. What do you guys think about this? Like, this is way more... I just thought this lady, put the business to some people who did her son wrong. And I was like, well, that's kind of... But, like, it's her own kids. What do you guys think about that? Like, no remorse? Like, you should... Even if you feel justified, I think, like, you should feel bad about it. Dude... Ocean Redux, do you think I haven't seen this? You think I haven't watched that video? you think I don't wake up to that? It's my little alarm on Google. It's like bling, 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 bling. And then... Well, so Optimistic Realizer says, wow, I can't believe she's admitting to not having remorse. Reminder, she has negotiated out a lifetime sentence, life in prison, no possibility of parole. I would assume in lieu of the death penalty or whatever. Does Illinois have or Michigan? Does Michigan have the death penalty? No, they abolished the death penalty in 1846. Okay, so I don't know. But she knows her fate. She knows her fate, and remorse won't help her in her sentencing. It's already been predetermined. So. Sorry, Megan says, damn, I have to go to a PT appointment and miss this. Fuck, I hate my life. We're going to do some more fun stuff later, Megan. I think we got to write Hey Maya. That's coming up. Not now. Not on this stream. Later.
I grabbed a belt and I put a belt around his neck and I lifted him up. Like, do you like how this feels, being choked with a belt? So I dropped him. I held him up until he lost consciousness as well.
You were intending to...
No, I did not intend to kill Steven.
No. Listen to my question. You were intending to inflict serious physical harm, but not kill him.
Definitely.
Okay.
Well, that's kind of tragic.
Did you also punch him?
So she was not trying to kill... Sounds like she was trying to kill the other one, but not this one. So that's weird. Maybe she has remorse there?
Yes, I did.
Did you also kick him?
Yes, I did.
Okay. You talked about choking him. Did you also burn him?
Yes, I did.
Okay, how did you do that?
Hot water, scalding hot water. After Steven died, and I told my son Matthew that, I gotta go, and I gotta go turn myself into the police. I gotta go turn myself in. And he said, turn yourself into what? And I said, Matthew, turn myself into the police. That means I gotta go because I killed somebody. And then he said, I don't want you to go. When he said that, that was it.
I killed somebody. Oh, your brother and sister This guy, I mean, like, I think that detail might have been important. Maybe, I don't know. Kind of changes things, right? Like, she didn't kill some guy named like Ruben or whatever. Just
So I put Steven in the freezer and I said, I'm going to stay with my kids as long as possible. And I'm glad I.
Logical. Just throw him in the freezer because, I mean, he's not missing any appointments.
I did, because if I had not have done that, I would not have found out about Stoney. You see what I'm saying? So everything happened how it was meant to happen.
Wait, whoa. Okay. Did anybody catch that shit at the end? The only reason she found out about Stoney, which is the rape thing, is because she killed the one kid. So she just did that one on her own. Whoa. This is why. So sorry to bring like such a dark, like nasty topic. I know, like, because this bothers some people and stuff like that. I'm desensitized to everything. It takes a lot to actually get to me. That being said, though, like this is a reminder. Like this shit happens. Like this shit just happens around the country, and like we've gone. Most of us, our entire lives. The internet is changing this a little bit, but most of us have go our entire lives without even ever realizing that like this type of darkness exists and is not common, but it's frequent. It's not common, but it's frequent. Holy shit, that's crazy. Okay, sorry. I think I have one more. This is the female corrections officer in a male prison. I'm going to get your guys' opinion on that. You're like, I have a basic opinion that female corrections officers should not be in male prisons in general. Call me sexist or whatever. I don't, like I'll take that one. I'll take that one. What is this? Kind of shady. Says, I woke up and 15 detectives and a crime scene van were across the street. An older lady lived there with her grown daughter and son-in-law. He was taken out in cuffs. Oh, shit. That doesn't sound good. Okay, this one can be a little bit, this is violent. This is violent, okay? So get over it. We're adults. If you don't like violence, I've warned you. This is 5 minutes and 40 seconds. Turn off the video or audio or whatever for a minute, and then come back to us if you don't like it. But otherwise, like this is violent. Reality is real, guys, and we need to remember that. We need to remember that this is not, and I'm not endorsing or glorifying this in any way. I think this is a stupid mistake, and the mistake is having this woman in Gen Pop male prison guard. Like, what are you doing?
We are with the
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn the volume up a little bit.
Hey, Bama, go. Hey, when you go out there, man, please go get a white shirt, bro.
The white shirt's
Man,
coming
tell them
over
it's an
here
emergency,
because
bro.
of a shakedown.
It ain't about the shakedown.
Okay,
It ain't, I don't
what's
care.
it
You can do
about?
that every day.
What's it about that?
Come on, like, ma'am, you just woke me up out my sleep for no reason.
It's a random
I
shakedown.
ain't get no.
Okay.
I haven't disrespect you. I never had a jack ticket in my life.
Okay,
Come on.
what does
It
that
ain't-
have
it
to
ain't a
do
random
with me?
Ocean Rita. I don't know why he quotes me here. Reality is real, guys. We need to remember that. We forget what life is for some people. Too easy to get comfortable and go, oh yeah, life is normal and stuff. And then you're confronted with reality. Maybe you're in the wrong place. Maybe you're in a bad part of town. Maybe you're at a convenience store where a transgender person brings in an axe. Like, holy shit. It's real what happens to people out in them streets or in corrections, as it were.
It
is though.
It do
It
got
still hasn't
everything
been
to
shook
do.
down since you guys
Come on,
moved
Great
in there.
Come on. You thought that motherfucker was laughing at you earlier. You looked at me and then looked like this. Like, come on, man. We all
What
see.
the fuck are you talking about? You need to step off. Go somewhere else. I don't give a fuck about that tape on the ground. You
Please
need to
stop
go
cussing at me.
somewhere else.
Please stop cussing at me. I'm not cussing at you.
This CO, this man is built like a hotel, like already. And this CO, I know someone who is a CEO for a long time in a state prison, and like the way they interact with people is just different. It's different than others. There's a little bit of a pause, a little bit of respect, but also a little bit of confidence that can come with it. And I've talked to this person multiple times about how they dealt with inmates and stuff like that, because, you know, like you see someone and you're like, okay, well, this person's kind of like strong or whatever, but they don't look like this guy. And you know that this guy's there, and you know that they've had to deal with guys like that. And I mean, usually you do it with numbers. They have a nightstick or other compliance devices, you know, stuff like that. But one thing I learned from this person who's a male is respect. Respect is currency in jail, in prison. And this is clearly apparent here. This is basic. This guy is saying you have, like, this whole thing is about disrespect, like saying there was a shakedown. Like, it seems like she maybe woke him up and searched his room. No particular reason. It's corrections. They can do that anyway, but like there's a level of respect. And then he's like, hey, go get someone else, please, to deal with this. She won't do it. She's saying, you need to step back. He's at this red tape on the ground, which I'm going to guess is where you go to stand when you need to talk to whoever's supposed to be at this desk to get some help with whatever issue that you may have. I don't really know. I'm kind of just putting it together from kind of the obvious. And he's like, I'm here by the tape. She says, I don't give a fuck. Respect is out the window from the CO here. That's a problem. You are in an environment with unstable people with poor like anger management and emotional control. Yeah. And when their arms are bigger than your, well, this is probably a big chick, but when their arms are as big as this guy's, you need to rely, like you trade in respect, and that is currency, and that is the most important thing that you have that they're armed with at any point.
Hey, go ahead and just cuff up then.
Please stop cussing at me.
OSCR 15 12 S. Go ahead, cuff up. Turn around.
Now, please don't do that.
Turn around and cuff up.
Please don't do that.
Turn around and cuff up.
Cuff up for what?
Turn around and cuff up. So get handcuffed. He's like, please don't do this. Like, don't engage me like this, woman. is the mantra, and it's an important one. Ocean Redux says, can I be honest? If you have a do-rag on, you're a red flag. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, people have different experiences. This is jail. The fashion options are limited. You got green and you got white. Apparently you level up to green by being muscular because everybody else looks tiny. I would be a white shirt. They're probably disposable like red shirts in Star Trek.
Because you want to see the white shirt? They got
Warlock says he's in jail. He lost his autonomy. Do what the CO says. I agree with you. I agree with you in principle. The CO, though, he want to go home and not end up like just watch.
white shirts and say,
I'm just asking
turn
you.
around.
I'm just asking you. Please don't
Turn
do that.
around
Ask you,
and
please.
cuff up. It's the last time I'm going to tell you. It's the last time I'm saying.
I am curious here, like what he has done wrong. Because it seems like what he's done wrong is standing in this place and the CO doesn't want him to, but it seems like he's in a place that he's supposed to be for some sort of process Why she is telling him to turn around and get handcuffed, why she's telling him he needs to move, we kind of are in the dark on that. I don't know. I'm not going to say he's in the right or whatever. I'm just saying, like, the CEO is not handling this in the way that that is conducive to a fluid communication experience. Getting to know your incarcerated individual.
Turn around and cuff up. Please don't. Cuff up!
All right. So this may be it. Maybe I just missed it. Scent Pat says he's not wearing a white shirt. So yeah, if he was supposed to put on a white shirt, he's wearing green today. Compliance is key in corrections. Even if the compliance seems nonsensical or not important, they have reasons for doing it. And sometimes it's just because these people need to listen. They need some, the whole reason they're in there is poor, like I said, poor emotional management, poor reactions, and they need some sort of discipline and authority, and that authority has to be asserted. Now she has pepper sprayed him. He didn't like that. Apparently, this produces a negative reaction. I'm not sure. I haven't done the research on it, but being pepper sprayed produces a negative reaction. Some people have developed what's called an immunity to pepper spray by being angry. That was why pepper spray is good for compliance in some situations. It's not good in other situations. Like some people, it doesn't work on. They don't give a shit about the pepper spray itself. And it's also why when you do see someone blast someone fully in the face with like a full can of pepper spray, the reason is because you see that doesn't do anything. That's like spraying Raid at a bear. He doesn't give a shit about being pepper sprayed. I mean, well, he's angry about it, but he's just not, nothing's going to stand in my way. Not tonight. He's going to fucking wreck whoever just did that. She's being manhandled by Hercules right now. Like, no chance. No chance. This person has no business tussling with this guy. And it looked like the other CO that he had knocked down was a female as well. So I don't know what they're doing here. The moment that guy started getting unwieldy, there should have been like 5 or 6 big fucking goons to deal with him. What is happening?
Get the fuck off her! Get the fuck off her!
That didn't go well for the officer. The hero of the story is currently maybe in a coma. Maybe in a coma, probably at risk of dying at this point. DEI at its fucking finest. Holy shit, it's Trigglypuff. I didn't know what she was up to. Remember that from the Crowder thing? Turns out. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Or the higher, the warden, I guess, at this prison be like, you know what? Yeah, no, like that looks. I'm glad, Chantal, that you're applying here, and we think we have a nice place for you in the Gen Pop area, the mess hall, where all of the violence tends to occur. We'll just put you right there, right there with a literal fucking rhinoceros. Who probably should own the prison. Like, he probably should have the keys to it at this point. Like, if Conquest were the way that you could advance to the warden status in prison, like a video game, he would have leveled up. Sorry, it's hearing someone like who's been KO'd or like knocked out, hearing them like mewling around is always unsettling. So sorry about that if that bothers you.
I'm trying to tell you, like for real.
Here we have another angle.
I'm not calling a white shirt. If you would like to grieve the situation, you can grieve. Then that's fine. I'm not calling a white shirt. Are you having a mental health crisis? Do I need to send you to TPU?
Okay, so now we're getting more of the story. like that. Are you having a mental health crisis? How's it going? Are you feeling okay today, sir? He doesn't look like he's having a mental health crisis. He looks just pissed off.
I'm
asking a question.
I've been level 4 for 13 years.
I'm asking a question.
I've been level 4 for 13 years.
He's been here before for 13 years. So this guy's, I mean, I don't know how long, how long his stay is going to be at the Radisson, but some people get used to it and they know all the tricks to like the breakfast bar in the morning. And this guy's one of those guys. He's been there for 13 years. He's probably been there significantly longer than this CEO, and so who knows what kind of other drama there is here. He might have had a better relationship with other CEOs in the past. We don't know. We don't know any of this, what she seems to know about this guy or not. All I would know is that guy's a motherfucking train and I would get off the tracks. I am not going to stand there. What are we talking about? Go find a building to put in front of him. You are not equipped for this, lady.
I'm asking a question. Are you having
I'm asking you a favor.
Okay. I'm asking a question. Are you having a mental health crisis? Okay. Not having a mental health crisis? Okay.
So this is, I have my favorite says, dude, you're going to be there a lot longer now. And that's the thing. Here's we don't know his status. If this guy's already a lifer or if he's already at 20 or 30 years, he doesn't fucking care. And that's what makes these people really dangerous in these situations. I mean, they settle into their routines and generally, most people want to function in peace. That's what they want to do is just function peacefully. And so that's kind of normal. That's real. But if this guy's there for 30 years, he could want to function in peace all day. But what throwing an assault charge on there? If he's going to get paroled later, he can claim he was having some sort of mental health breakdown, etc. And I think the actions of the CEO here, and we don't have all the context, but the actions of the CEO here are in question to me. They are in question. I don't understand the requirement to get cuffed and the need to use pepper spray for compliance. It looked like he was maybe turning around to get cuffed. I'm not sure why she pepper sprayed him in the first place. That seemed really stupid to me.
Your cell's open.
And I'm not a CEO, so I'm not saying that I'm correct. I'm just saying when I look at this, I'm like, I don't know why you pepper sprayed him. I wouldn't do that.
You're more than welcome to go up there now.
His response was too much. Well, yeah.
Stop the roll.
These people are not equipped for a guy like this at all. Here's where you think you are going to die because of your decisions. And this is, again, so this is one of the, in a weird way, this is illustrative of something I was talking about a couple months ago. We were When we were just humbly blowing up Venezuelan boats and then taking Maduro, does everybody remember we did that, which is kind of funny. It's about power. It's about the application of power. The question is, can this guy murder a CO? Well, no. Is he gonna? Yeah, he is. You know why? Because his feet are able to accomplish that task before his reason can kick in and stop him. And, or before he can be assisted into stopping. And that's the difference. That's where everybody gets the application of authority and force and power wrong. It's always the question to, can you do something that you've seen done? The answer is always yes. Yes, you can. They did. He did. Can he stomp the shit out of the CO? Maybe kill her? Yep, he can. Is it legal? No. I mean, someone will have to deal with that later. But for the CO, like, that mattered. That mattered now. Two people trying to pull him off of her. Whoops. How's that pepper spray decision? That was good. These COs are lucky, like no one else decided to join in, right? Like, because that's the other thing. Because sometimes these guys are opportunistic and they see one fight as an excuse to handle some business, either on a CO or on another inmate or whatever. Because they can get lost in the scrum, and they can get some things done during this the confusion that's caused, and they are shockingly lucky that no one else came in, just decided to start murdering people. Your authority is imaginary. It kind of is, yeah. Wait, who said that? Who said this? Where did I see that? Someone said, hey, Andy. Where'd it go? I can't find this. Why in the YouTube chat coming through on here? Okay, well, that's pissing me off right now. Andy over on YouTube says, where the fuck? Where was it? I don't know why my YouTube chat stopped coming up into the StreamYard, which is very, very frustrating. And so now I've lost I guess I can find it this way. But Destiny said pepper spray totally incapacitates you. Destiny is chronically correct at all times. At all times. Hey, wait, where'd the comments go? What happened here? This is so strange. Oh, that was weird. Well, this is wild. The YouTube chat no longer is showing in StreamYard, which is fine. I don't need it to. I can still see the YouTube chat down here. I've just been trying to make a habit of reading it on StreamYard, because then I can pull it up. There they are. Oh, it finally happened. There we go. Lonely God says, I also heard Destiny likes members a lot. I've heard the same thing. No shame. We love members around here. Steven Alvarez says, Nick, she obviously forgot how to blow her whistle for self-defense. Also stops ICE agents in active operations, from what I hear.
Get her! No! Get her out of here! Davis! Help her! Help her. Forget it. Forget him.
This guy's lucky. He's lucky to be alive too, though. Like, because they could have gone lethal on him. But if they do, see, this is one of those weird things. This is the reasonableness thing, right? That we talk about in other contexts. But they certainly could have gone lethal on this guy. He's put her in imminent danger of death and serious bodily injury. Any blows to the head, any serious blows to the head are automatically deadly force. Stomping on someone on the ground, deadly force. Okay, just so we're reviewing this. I think this is important and illustrative. They could have gone lethal here, but if they do, they stand at the risk of inciting a riot very fast. The other inmates would not be super happy with it. Probably, possibly. You never know. But that's where situationally, like, justification occurs, but it might not be the most reasonable thing to do, the most reasonable outcome, or most reasonable option to take it to deadly force, even if it is justified in that moment. So, kind of crazy.
Help her. Come on, man. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. I'm done.
All right, so I guess that's the end of the video. Yeah, Glenn says, if getting stomped, yeah, you can use deadly force. Yes, of course you can. The question is the wisdom of it. Because, again, what if it kicks off a riot and you got people suddenly attacking the very, like, criminally understaffed already, or criminally underrepresented in that moment staff of that prison? I mean, if that mess hall erupts into people deciding to attack the officers, they become in serious danger really fast. So wild stuff. I saw that. I thought of you guys. Don't try and find out if I was doing the stomping or getting stomped, but I did think of you warmly while doing so. Okay. Back to some news, back to some law talk. Took a little detour through some violent video, which I think was necessary to do. But okay. It's not a mess hall, it's a common area. Oh, I apologize. You're right. You were right, of course. I just mostly mean not a cell. And common area is better. I couldn't think of the word. Stacy Pruitt says, "Aw, wait, what? Are you sad that we're done watching corrections officers get nearly killed? I can find more. You guys are also able to send me, something. Well, it's kind of hard, I guess, because I have links disabled. So I guess you can't take that. All right, let's talk birthright citizenship a little bit. This is something my friend Andrew Branca has been hammering on for a while now, and I think it merits a little discussion. The Supreme Court is discussing birthright citizenship in the 14th Amendment. This is another one of those issues that's been around for a long time and is now being dealt with. And we may get a radical shift in understanding about what the 14th Amendment means in regards to citizenship. And the reason this is important is because the 14th Amendment was written for a very, very specific purpose. And it was to make black people who were brought here against their will, typically as slaves, citizens, and their offspring. That's what it was for. That is the citizenship that is contemplated by the 14th Amendment. Don't accept any substitute explanations. They're all lies. They're all lies. This was Reconstruction era amendments. We have the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. These are directed specifically at the slave population of the United States at the time, but they have been expanded and misrepresented into what they are today. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Don't take that wrong. Don't misunderstand my intent there. But it is important, I think, to understand that these had a purpose, and that purpose was fulfilled right away. And the fact that they have stuck around and been used for other purposes is a little bit strange. The 14th is one of the strangest ones because it confers birthright citizenship somehow. Somehow it confers an ongoing automatic citizenship for anyone born within the borders of the United States. Although that's not what it says. That's what the Supreme Court at one point interpreted it to say, but it's not what it says. And so we need to talk about it because it's now finally being relitigated. And it's time. So this is Immigration Matters, SCOTUS Blogs. This is someone at the Supreme Court blog. In Birthright Citizenship Fight, Justice Department selectively interprets the original meaning of the Citizenship Clause. This should be fun, I think. And this is by Cesar Cuauhtémoc Garcia Hernandez. And I don't know anything about this person, but I'm going to be prejudiced and I'm going to assume their position on this issue. I'm going to do that. I don't know if you guys want to join me in that assumption. If I can bring you into racial discrimination in a comfortable way, we'll do that right now. I don't do that on many topics, but on this one, I'm pretty confident I know the angle of this article. But let's see. I could be wrong. So Immigration Matters is a recurring series by Cesar blah, blah, blah Hernandez. I don't mean to be offensive, but I just don't know how to pronounce that. And I think it's offensive if I try. That analyzes the court's immigration docket, highlighting emerging legal questions about new policy and enforcement practices. Emerging legal questions. The 14th Amendment was ratified in 1867? Okay. Yeah, new questions. Last month, the Department of Justice filed its brief with the Supreme Court in the high-stakes legal fight over birthright citizenship. And we do have it. I think Andrew has gone through it. I just want to see how long this brief is. How long is it? 66 pages. That's not so bad for a Supreme Court brief. According to the government, the justices should side with the Trump administration because the president's executive order faithfully applies the intended meaning of the 14th Amendment Citizenship Clause, which states that all persons born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are U.S. citizens. Let's go ahead and do what we need to do. We always need to. Let's check the actual text. 14th Amendment text. I think it's always important to do this because people are always quick to tell you what the amendment was. Yeah, where is it? There we go. Here we are. It's just this main part up here. Section 1 of the 14th Amendment. Most amendments don't have sections. This one does. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Okay, this is about black people right at the time of the Civil War. I mean, that this is a critical moment in the United States where the federal government exerts an increased amount of power because we found out that we did not have enough centralized government power at the time. We found that out with the very good evidence of a civil war over the very lack of the federal government's ability to do this. This right here. This is one of the most important lines in the Constitution, and it comes in the 14th Amendment because this applies the constitutional protections and the recognition of rights to the states, which did not have it at the time. People don't seem to understand this. You're like, oh yeah, you had a First Amendment, right? And so you had religious freedom when you moved here, way back in 1793, for example. You did not. You had the freedom to join the religion of whatever state you were in. Every state except for, I think, Rhode Island had a state religion at the time. The 13 colonies, the original 13 states, had a state-enforced religion. And if you were not part of that state religion, there were taxes and penalties, and there was a pain in the ass. And it's also why you get some, accumulation of like religious people on the East Coast for a long time. For example, French Catholics being in Kentucky, right? Like that. That's just where they were. That's where they were. Quakers up in Maine, stuff like that. So you may have other religions attempting to set up shop in other states, but you have problems going through with that, with those attempts. It didn't work out so well. The 14th Amendment changes that definitively. It applies all protections of the Constitution to all the states. It is now a minimum bar in every state. And this is necessary because obviously slavery was a institution that did not respect the human rights of an entire group of people based on primarily race. Not entirely race, but primarily race. And so that's what this is about. People who were brought here as property were not regarded as people worthy of citizenship because they weren't people, they were property. This changes all of that. And that was the purpose of it. And that is the citizens of the United States. Born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States in the state wherein they reside. So this is an important thing. But that's the actual language. And from that, somehow, we've gotten the idea that anyone born within the territorial U.S. is automatically a citizen. Kind of ignoring that second part, right? That's so here we go, which states that all persons born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are U.S. citizens. Urging the justices to dive into the past, the Justice Department cites 19th century books, letters, judicial opinions, and even a funeral speech in support of President Donald Trump's attempt to narrow access to citizenship at birth. But in mining written texts from more than a century ago, the government's brief plucks phrases that it favors while ignoring the political movement to dramatically expand citizenship in which the 14th Amendment was added to the Constitution. And again, what are we talking about? Yeah, it was dramatically expanding citizenship to slaves. To people who were not afforded the opportunity in any capacity to become citizens, who are not regarded as persons. They're now being regarded as persons. This is not intended in the way it is used now. Now, that doesn't mean that that's wrong, that it's the wrong application. It just means that it's not the intended application. We have plenty of things that are not used as intended, and it's good. It's good that they're not. And this may be one of them. Courts and executive branch agencies have customarily interpreted the citizenship clause as granting U.S. citizenship at birth to everyone born in the United States except for children born to diplomats, Native Americans, and invading military forces. And this, of course, is because we're saying that they are not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. They're not within that jurisdiction, the legal recognition of authority. But herein lies the conundrum. You've undoubtedly heard the very offensive term anchor baby, and that is the idea that someone can come here illegally. They can give birth to a baby who is now a U.S. citizen and use the citizenship of that child to anchor themselves into the country that they had illegally entered in the first place. Some people take umbrage with this. some people don't think that maybe like that's how this should go. Right? Indeed, other than these three narrow exceptions, courts in past presidential administrations since 1868, when the 14th Amendment was ratified, I think I said 67, my bad, treated as irrelevant the citizenship or immigration status of a child's parents. In 1924, President Calvin Coolidge signed the Indian Citizenship Act, which gave U.S. citizenship to all Native Americans born in the United States. Here's an interesting thing about this. And we're seeing this in immigration enforcement right now. Just because we have looked at something one way does not mean it is the way. The U.S. government has the ability to go beyond the minimum protection that is guaranteed at any point it wants. The U.S. government has to guarantee your right to free speech, for example. The U.S. government can go on to further ensure that your speech is protected and amplified if it wants to try and find a way to do that. If it finds it has the authority to do that under the Commerce Clause or something like that, it can actually do that. It can amplify your speech. You can say you're not only entitled to your speech as a base, but you are entitled to amplified protection. There are certain classes of speech that are not protected the same as others. Some classes of speech that are not protected at all, like defamation. The U.S. government could change that. Like they have the ability to further protect speech than they do. And in this case, we do have the U.S. government acting in such a way that gave further protection than what the text seems to say. So the question then is like, does that create a permanent solution? Not like that one. Despite this, on the first day of his second term, Trump issued an executive order narrowly interpreting the Citizenship Clause. According to the executive order, children born in the United States should not be treated as U.S. citizens if they are born to a father who is neither a U.S. citizen nor lawful permanent resident, and a mother who is living in the United States at the time of the child's birth under a temporary visa or without the federal government's permission. And this is, of course, interesting. What does it mean to be under the jurisdiction of the United States? People who are here unlawfully want it both ways. They want to be outside the jurisdiction of the United States in regards to the lawfulness of their presence. They want to be under the jurisdiction of the United States in regards to this issue of birthright citizenship. Oh, no, we're totally submitting to the authority of the federal, of the government. It's like, where have you done this? You haven't done this at all. In fact, you're seeking admission. You don't have permission to be here. You have not gone through the process to get approval to be in our country. So why should we say that you are under the jurisdiction of the United States when you're acting outside of the jurisdiction of the United States? They're not submitting themselves to tax laws. They're not submitting themselves to really any of the laws of the United States. Their mere presence is criminal and is a violation. It's also thievery. We should point that out. It is to steal. The case before the Supreme Court, Trump versus Barbara, should be barbacoa. That's delicious. Challenges the legality of Trump's executive order. Last July, U.S. District Court Joseph LaPlante of New Hampshire found that the executive order likely violates the 14th Amendment and an immigration law enacted by Congress. LaPlante consequently blocked the Trump administration from implementing the president's order. Now before the Supreme Court, the Justice Department's defense of the president's order frames the legal fight in historical terms. Why would we do that? Why would we want to know what they meant when they wrote it? That seems weird. That seems like a strange plan. I mean, who would care at all what someone wrote a long time ago when we're determining what they meant, like, and how we should deal with it? I don't know. Sorry to be cheeky, but believe it or not, there are people who think that way, that what was originally written and the meaning behind it doesn't matter. And that's crazy to me. Okay, so here we go. Specifically, the government's brief urges the court to restore the original meaning of the Citizenship Clause To do that, the brief argues that the justices should allow executive branch agencies to implement Trump's executive order because it articulates the citizenship clause's meaning as it was understood when it was ratified, not how it was misinterpreted in the 20th century. And look, there's misinterpretation of statutes or the Constitution or rights or whatever. Like those things happen. They do. But think about the impact that this has had. Think about the impact that this interpretation has had on the country. This interpretation has justified the criminal activity, of millions and millions of people throughout the years, solely on the basis that they were able to avoid detection until a baby was born. It justified their criminal behavior entirely. Typically, a legal structure that justifies unlawful behavior by continuing unlawful behavior and evasion is not ideal. Like, you don't want to reward the bad behavior. You want to reward good behavior. You want people to submit to the authority of the United States and say, no, I want to be a citizen. I want to participate. I want to pay taxes. I want to, be a community member. Like, we want to reward that behavior. We don't really like the other stuff. The other stuff of, I want to steal the resources of your country. Not as good, not as convincing, not as heartfelt. By grounding its legal position in its understanding of that era, the government opens the door to competing assessments of the historical record. I mean, it was already open. What are you talking about? Shut up. And a close analysis of the sources that the government references illustrate the difficulty it faces in its attempt to revise the prevailing law view of the 14th Amendment. In its attempt to identify how the citizenship clause was understood at the time it was added to the Constitution, the Justice Department references comments by 6 senators, 5 members of Congress, 1 state judge, 1 historian, a general, and an unnamed reporter. Although some of these individuals played an important role in crafting the 14th Amendment, it is not obvious why the Justice Department discusses others. Senator Lyman Trumbull was a political ally of President Abraham Lincoln and lead sponsor of the Civil Rights Act of 1866, a law that served as a model for the 14th Amendment. But Thomas Cooley, whom the government cites favorably, was serving as a justice on the Michigan Supreme Court when the 14th Amendment was proposed and then ratified. Meanwhile, the government references historian George Bancroft, but not for his 10-volume history of the United States, nor for his 2-volume history of the formation of the federal Constitution, which was published 14 years after the 14th Amendment was ratified. Instead, the government quotes the speech Bancroft gave at Lincoln's 1865 funeral 3 years before the 14th Amendment's ratification. Does anyone in the class want to take a wild stab at why the government would cite a definition that was closer in time and actually prior to the passage of the 14th Amendment as to what the common understanding of the language would have been at the time of passage, rather than one that takes place 14 years later after a significant amount of reconstruction has occurred? Anyone in class want to figure out why you would want the one that came before as to figure out what the meaning was at the time of passage rather than the one that came over a decade later? I don't know. I think I can figure it out, but maybe not. Because, of course, the question is not, what did people think that it meant 14 years later, but rather, what did it mean at the time it was passed? Likewise, the government relies on a scandal-ridden Union general, Stephen Hurlbut, in an article in the Chicago Republican, an obscure, short-lived newspaper. I don't know what him being scandal-ridden matters unless the scandals are related to the understanding of birthright citizenship. So that's kind of weird. In a country that numbered approximately 39 million people in 1870, other statements by these 15 all-white men, not a lot of non-white men were being published at the time. Penguin Publishing was a little bit racist back then. Except perhaps for the unnamed reporter, reveal a remarkably more complex understanding of citizenship than what the government's brief suggests. For example, To support the executive order's claim that children born to mothers who are living in the United States lawfully under a temporary visa, of which there are currently 22 types, are not automatically entitled to U.S. citizenship, the brief recounts an exchange between Senators Benjamin Wade and William Fessenden during debates over the 14th Amendment. According to the brief, Fessenden objected to Wade's initial proposal of a version of the citizenship clause that would have granted citizenship to persons born in the United States, and Fessenden said would thus extend citizenship to children of parents who were only present in the country temporarily. One of the things that's hard to remember here is that we didn't actually have a formalized system of immigration in the way that we understand it now until 1967. I guess 1947, sort of. But 1967 is the passage of the Immigration Naturalization Act. That is when we see the massive shift in federal immigration and naturalization understanding. It's where illegal immigration kind of comes from. 1947, we had a wartime, post-wartime, but a post-wartime act limiting the immigration from Germany and Japan primarily. In the 1800s, there was some sort of conflict with China, and we had a brief ban on the importation of more Chinese people. That was short-lived. But largely, we didn't have an understanding of illegal immigration at all. There wasn't really anything like it. It didn't exist. You could just kind of come in to the United States. But citizenship mattered. There wasn't a social safety net that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars per person who's present in the country at the time. But the actual historical record is more complicated. Fessenden did ask Wade to consider whether it might not be best to exclude from citizenship some people born in the U.S. But Wade promptly rejected the suggestion. The senator says a person may be born here and not be a citizen. I know that is so in one instance, in the case of the children of foreign ministers who reside near the United States. In the diplomatic language, Wade responded, their children would not be citizens, although born in Washington. He added, Wade did not mention any other exceptions to the rule that birth in the United States results in citizenship. So, indeed, that is consistent with Wade's explanation in the same Senate session that he had always believed that every person of whatever race or color who is born within the United States was a citizen of the United States, rather than the constrained version of birthright citizenship that Trump's executive order promotes. Wade embraced a broadly inclusive version. And this is always frustrating because one person's belief or advocacy does not reflect the understood definition necessarily. That's a different question. That's a different question. So one person says, yeah, well, I always thought everybody born here was a citizen. Well, you're wrong. Like you're automatically wrong because a diplomat's children born here are not citizens. Diplomats are not under the jurisdiction of the United States. They're not granted citizenship. And until the 14th Amendment, like that wasn't the case. Legitimately and obviously not the case, especially in regards to slavery, whom the 14th Amendment is there to rectify. The Justice Departments, that's funny, it's now an SNL skit. The Justice Department's claim that the 14th Amendment grants citizenship only to the children of people who owe primary allegiance to the United States likewise builds on decontextualized quotations. Do you notice what happened, though? Like, the context that he added didn't actually change the outcome. Of the 3 members of Congress and 2 senators that the government highlights, 4 Senators Justin Morrill and Philemon Bliss, as well as Representatives John Broomall and Martin Russell Thayer, describe allegiance as deriving directly from birth in the United States. Morrill, for example, said that every man by his birth is entitled to citizenship and that upon the general principle that he owes allegiance to the country of his birth and that country owes him protection. If we're talking about allegiance, we're not talking about physical place. Again, this is specious, and this is This is frustrating. I'm sorry. This is like nerdy law shit, but it pisses me off. So I'm reading it and you have to deal with it. The government's brief quotes a comment from Morrill about allegiance and protection, but by not presenting this statement, the brief ignores Morrill's broader position. A man is a citizen of the country in which he is born because he owes it allegiance and it owes him protection. But someone who his parents are here unlawfully don't have allegiance to the country, and neither do they automatically conferred allegiance to that country. In fact, they're likely conferred non-allegiance because they're not likely to wake up and report their parents as soon as they are able to understand that they're here illegally, that to the ongoing criminal actions of their parents are not being reported to the country. Their allegiance is split at that point. Independently, Bliss, Broomall, and Thayer express similar views. At no point do any of them qualify citizenship like the Justice Department claims. Why? And this guy has failed to answer so far the critical question, though. He mentioned that the original proposition was for anyone born in the United States. Why then is the language "and subject to the jurisdiction thereof" added? It seems like we should have something to tell us why that's there. Senator Garrett Davis also does not neatly support the government's position. While the Justice Department correctly asserts that Davis defined a foreigner as someone who owes allegiance to another government, he does not appear to view allegiance as relevant to birthright citizenship. To the contrary, Davis describes as preposterous and absurd the suggestion that anyone born in the United States could be treated as a foreigner. How does he do that? Oh my God, how am I going to find this? So this is interesting. This is old school right here. The Congressional Globe, January 31st. Page 524. Let's see. Will the senator from Kentucky allow me to ask him if he means to assert that Negroes were not citizens of any of these colonies before the adoption of the Constitution? Mr. Davis says, I will come to that presently. Mr. Trumbull, I understood him to assert that they were not citizens when the Constitution was adopted in any of the states, and to challenge contradiction. Mr. Davis says, I say they were not. Mr. Trumbull says, does the senator wish any authority to show that they were? If he does, I will state to him that I have before me. Mr. Davis says, when I get through, you can answer me. Back to Trumbull. I understood the senator to challenge me to produce any proof on that point, and I thought we would have it in his speech. I can assert to him that by a solemn decision of the Supreme Court of North Carolina, they were citizens before the adoption of the Constitution. Okay, so one state has decided to create a concept of citizenship, and Trumbull says this is evidence that they were. Well, I guess we don't need a 14th Amendment, right? Mr. Davis says, if the honorable senator will allow me, I will get along with my remarks. So wait, what were we talking about? Sorry, I lost... Okay, so owes allegiance to another government. I wonder if I can find on this page. Allegiance. Okay, so here we go. You would have to go to some foreign country and sever your tie of allegiance to the government of the United States and assume that tie towards some foreign government or foreign potentate before you could be the subject of naturalization here. Wait, what? Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what the fuck they're trying to say here. It is preposterous and absurd to pretend to make you, sir, or any gentleman born in the United States, a citizen of the United States under the power of Congress, to pass a uniform rule of naturalization. Why? Because you're not a foreigner. This is the truth about it. It is historical truth, and it establishes the principle, too, that all the action and operation of the state governments before the Constitution was formed and the provisions of the Constitution itself in relation to naturalization and investing Congress with the whole subject under the authority to establish a uniform rule of naturalization refers exclusively to foreigners. You being born here might become the subject of this naturalization law and system. Okay, so he's saying that since you were born here, you are a citizen, and because of that, it's preposterous to think that the process by which you would need naturalization, because you'd have to renounce your citizenship, and then you'd have to come back and renaturalize. That's what he's saying there. And I don't think that actually has, again, anything to do with this, because the Constitution and the rights under it applied to white landowning men. It really, did not apply. Again, it didn't apply to black people at all until the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. That makes no fucking sense, bro. Just say that. Exactly. He does not appear to view allegiance as relevant to birthright citizenship. Again, he's talking to a white landowning male being born in the United States. He's not talking to someone who is here under a different government's jurisdiction. To the contrary, Davis describes as preposterous. Okay, yeah. So the remaining legislator, Representative John Bingham, would actually appear to endorse a narrower form of citizenship than Trump. As the Justice Department notes, Bingham stated that he would exclude from birthright citizenship children born to parents who owe allegiance to any foreign sovereignty. In the same speech, Bingham leaves no doubt that he believes that citizenship should turn on the immigration or citizenship status of parents. But he goes further than Trump in suggesting that children born to citizens of any other country would be denied U.S. citizenship. Every human being born within the jurisdiction of the United States of parents not owing allegiance to any foreign sovereignty is, in the language of your Constitution itself, a natural born citizen, he asserts. Because a person owes allegiance to their country of citizenship, anyone who is a citizen of another country owes allegiance to any foreign sovereignty, which, according to Bingham, would bar their children from obtaining U.S. citizenship at birth. Yes, that honestly, this is the appropriate view of the 14th Amendment of birthright citizenship because of the line under the jurisdiction of the United States. Without that jurisdictional line, sure, birthright citizenship, anyone born here gets it. But when you add the jurisdictional line, and again, remembering that there isn't really a formalized there isn't a recognizable system of illegal immigration at the time that this happens, but there is a recognition of people with allegiances to foreign sovereignties living in the United States. We have obviously the English people still living in the United States after the Revolutionary War. We would have, both English diplomats plus English business owners who and their staff who may still maintain that English citizenship. We would have Spanish, French, Portuguese settlers as well, who would be potentially living and trading in the United States while maintaining the sovereignty or maintaining allegiance to their original countries. One of the American Revolutionary generals, Lafayette, of course, being a Frenchman, during any time that he lives here, his allegiance is to France. He's a French general, for fuck's sake. If he has kids, we cannot say that Lafayette is, and the children of Lafayette would have been allied or owing their allegiance and citizenship to the United States. They would definitely owe their allegiance and citizenship to France. So this is a silly silly argument. It always has been. It's always been an abstraction to say, oh, no. Like, if you're born here, even if your parents have no respect for the legal structure of the country, and they actively spit on it by their mere presence, that no, they should get all the protection of it. Why? Why is it? Why is that? Let's see. Thomas Cooley, who, as noted, was a state judge in Michigan in 1880, would likely have agreed. The Justice Department correctly explains that Cooley argued in a book on constitutional law that citizenship is unavailable to people who owe allegiance to another government. Cooley added in the sentence that follows that line, which the government does not quote, that he would exclude from citizenship Aboriginal inhabitants who recognize the headship of their chiefs. So he would exclude natives, which were excluded until 1924. The dozen men whom the Justice Department cites to bolster its proposed understanding of the citizenship clause at the time that the 14th Amendment was ratified thus present complex views of citizenship. You have not made that case at all, that are sometimes at odds with one another. This was a debate. Sometimes I think people forget the context in which constitutional amendments came up. They were debates. They were argued over. The language is intentional. More importantly, for the current legal fight over the future of birthright citizenship, they only partly align with Trump's executive order. Often they contradict Trump's position. Nothing less should be expected. In the late 19th century, when these men lived, citizenship was far from an esoteric idea. To people who had lived through the Civil War, citizenship was instead the stuff of political fights with flesh and blood consequences. That they would have strong, multifaceted views about citizenship that do not fit neatly onto our own debates more than 150 years later should not be surprising. So there we go. I don't know. What a shitty article. Honestly, the article doesn't provide any instruction to the contradictive nature that is implied and overtly asserted in the article. They said that, the government's doing this and it's doing it wrong. But what they cited wasn't actually any sort of counter argument or refutation of the government's interpretation. Not in the slightest. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating to see that approach because people, no one reads SCOTUS blog probably, but the people who do read SCOTUS blog are taking it on authority that this is well researched, this is well reasoned, is given the same sort of attention to detail that, the interpretation and explanation of the Supreme Court decisions that are discussed, are reliable. But here this argument was made without making the argument. They just said, well, they didn't say these exact words, but he didn't go into why they had to add that clause. Why, subject to the jurisdiction thereof, is in the text. And this is the ultimate question on birthright citizenship. Just because you cross a border and spit out a baby, does that baby have citizenship here? I would assert no. Never was supposed to. Currently, that is the law. Make no mistake. That's been the law for a while. But it's never made sense for that to be the law. It's never made sense in the context of what the 14th Amendment says or what people would have understood at the time. The confusing part comes because we created a system of illegal immigration, a system by which someone could sneak into the country and their presence alone constituted a criminal violation of the law of the nation. That wasn't around. In the past, you just could come here. You could go pretty much anywhere, except the sovereign always had the authority to throw you out of the country, to refuse to grant you the equivalent of a visa, to refuse to grant you permission to cross their lands. There's always a possibility that that would happen. But it was a little bit more passive than it is these days. These days, you have to have permission to come in. But that's because we have a better system of tracking. That's because the dangers are different. That's because the amount of damage that can be done by one person today is far different than in 1630. In 1630 England. Well, there you go, guys. I think now is a good time to wrap up the show for the daytime here. I hope to do more of these. I hope to do more of these daytime shows. I hope you guys enjoyed them. Hopefully more people will see that that I can do that. And I want to get them more consistent, obviously. And then more and more people notice that they're happening. And if we get some sort of schedule around it, I think we can have a pretty good show. Midday, mid-law review. And, in the future, I'm open to bringing on some other lawyers as well. I'll have Ron Coleman on very soon. He was supposed to come on last night, but I was not in a good place to do a show last night. And so I asked him, hey, can we reschedule to later this week? And he graciously said, of course. And then he reprimanded me for my writing stuff. I'm just kidding. He didn't do that. He said, of course, not a problem. So we'll have Ron Coleman on very soon. Also Ryan Mullally, I think, who famously annihilated Pisco at the First World War debate. He's expressed interest in popping on, and I think these daytime shows might be a really good opportunity to have some lawyers on and just kind of chill, talk about the law and legal stories that are out there. Buddy Max says, what about members on the show? If someone wants to come on the show, they are welcome to email me. I'm really hesitant to bring on people that I don't have the ability to, I don't want to say vet, but see how they are. Because sometimes when people get on a show, it's just complete. It's not good. We'll put it that way. It's not good. So, yeah. Yep. What do we got? Someone said, what about the one-on-one? I can't find the chat, but what about the one-on-one interview with the Lips lawyer? I'm still, I spoke to Leslie. We're still working out the proper time to do that. As soon as I have it, you guys will know once we get that scheduled. But I do think we can make the interview happen. And I think it'll be fun to do so. But for now, guys, I'm gonna go grab some food. Check in on what's going on around the house and stuff like that. And then we'll, Buddy Mac, what email? ricadalaw@ricada.org. You can send it there. That's the way. So, yeah, I gotta check on some stuff around the house. Should still have a show later tonight. And it might be the members only show. We'll see. You guys have been amazing. 58 members for this show is crazy town. And I really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys for that. And I guess we'll catch you a little bit later. All right. Thanks for hanging out with me. You guys make it always worth it and always fun. Have a good day. Until next time. Peace. Yes, smash the like button. Oh my God.
It just helps get his noggin jogging along with his glass by his side and his kids asleep tight. We'll hear some law-splaining tonight. With his microphone muted, we'll laugh at this boomer until he explains it's all part of the plan. Watch his face become redder as he becomes meta, raging at idiots from Twitterland. From the white shores of Maine to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an ardbeg, a bow, more of the Freud. The spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, the guests are all plentiful, from Dundee to spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. So pour out an odd bag of bow, more of that Freud. Spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea, post on Twitter as we hear Lost Planning tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the plot better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have